The most powerful city in the world holds Washington Redskins football in high regard. The memories are indelible. They flood back to us floating on air, rumbling on the ground from every little corner of D.C. There was a time, a 10-year span, when this franchise was swimming in championships. In 2004, the caretaker of that greatness returns to the helm, leaving his race days in the rearview mirror. But an early injury presents immediate challenges. Anticipation meets expectation. Joe Gibbs and the Redskins back in D.C. next. It's the Redskin Broadcast Network here from FedEx Field, where the Washington Redskins, their second preseason game of the year, take on the defending NFC champion, Carolina Panthers. Joe Gibbs, most anticipated return to the National Football League since no one. No one has been more anticipated, and Washington fans are stoked again, thinking they will be returned to the glory years. This is a team that went 4-0 in the preseason last year and then made it all the way to the Super Bowl before losing out to New England. Welcome inside, everyone. I'm John Saunders. We talk about Joe Gibbs. He left this Washington franchise 12 years ago. During that span, he won as many Daytona 500s as Washington made the playoffs. But they've been raining on his parade a little bit today for about the last 5 hours. We have the remnants of a tropical storm that is moving through, so the field will be wet, it will be sloppy, but it still will be Redskins football. I'm joined by Jeff Bostic, and it's not very often you like to start a telecast by talking about somebody who won't be here, but that's what we'll do. John Jansen just blew out his Achilles tendon last game.
Got hurt at the Hall of Fame game, out for the season, left Achilles rupture. One of those things that's really hard to explain. He wasn't hitting anybody, he was just pushing off to go downfield. I've seen this happen to a few other teammates of mine. You hate this for John Jansen, all the off-season training, all the running, all for naught. You're not going to play a game, and the Redskins hate it because they lose a leader in that clubhouse, and they also lose a leader on the field. 80 consecutive starts. Good luck to him. I saw him yesterday at Redskin Park. He's on the mend, but now somebody else has got to step up and play.
Somebody that dependable is very difficult to replace, so who will they look to?
Tonight they're going to go to Kenyatta Jones, and he's a veteran football player. Started 11 games for the New England Patriots in 2002. Knows about winning football. Was part of a Super Bowl championship team. He'll have his hands full tonight. Julius Peppers, thank you. Other Redskins, how about newly signed 19-year veteran Ray Brown, former teammate of mine? I'll stop the speculation. I'm not coming out of retirement. And one thing that the Redskins are happy to see, Randy Thomas, their veteran guard, back in the lineup. Knees were bothering him a little bit last week, back in the lineup. Bugle's getting his guys back together. The big test will be for Kenyatta Jones and how he holds up at right tackle.
One of the big offseason signings was Mark Brunell at quarterback. Here's a guy who's thrown for over 25,000 yards during his career, but Patrick Ramsey will get the start tonight.
Ramsey will get the start. Gibbs is going to alternate the quarterback starts all throughout the preseason. One thing I can tell you, Joe Gibbs has never been motivated on what someone makes as to whether they start for his football team or not.
Patrick Ramsey started 11 games last year before he went down with an injury. He's very philosophical about this role and the battle between him and Brunell.
It just depends on how this all plays out. I think if I'm the starter, obviously to go out there and win, try to make the playoffs and get to the playoffs and then take it from there. I think if I'm not playing, if Mark's playing, just to learn, just to sit back and try to be the sponge and take everything in.
So Ramsey gets a start. What are the Geico keys to the game?
Geico keys to the game are simple. If you're Joe Gibbs and that offensive staff, we need improved quarterback play, namely from Brunell and Ramsey. Last week, 16 pass attempts, 30 yards. Secondly, stop the run. You're going to be facing one of the best 1-2 combo matchups with Stephen Davis and Deshaun Foster. Stop the run important. And anytime you talk about Joe Gibbs football, always win the turnover battle. The Redskins won the toss and have elected
to receive. And with the weather as sloppy as it is, I'm not surprised they want to get the first chance to put some points on the board. Thrash and Scott are back to receive the kick. And the building's about half full. I'm sure we'll get a few more people in here as the night goes on. But again, with this terrible weather, it's going to keep people away. Although, Jeff, you can't tell by the noise. It still sounds like a full building. Bobbled once by Thrash into the hands of Scott. He crosses the 25-yard line before he's brought down. Yeah, we're going to get our first look at the Washington offense, led by Patrick Ramsey. How do you think he has come along as a quarterback?
I think last year was a very hard experience for him. Pass protection was very poor. He got beat up a lot, injured, had to have the foot surgically repaired. Looking forward to another 2004 season, though.
And he expects to get protected a lot more, though he loses the snap. And again, the wet ball. Clinton Portis picks it up and gets it back to the 25-yard line. I have a feeling we'll see a lot of that tonight.
And the one thing the NFL needs to do, and you can see those footballs, how shiny it is, obviously because of the rain, but there is a wax surface on those balls that they used to take a hard horsehair brush and knock that wax off. They need to start implementing it. You see every other game somebody losing a handle on a ball.
Second down, 10 yards to go. Back to pass. Ramsey looks over to his left, going deep. Almost picked off. He thought he had his man open, but the Panthers branch just stepped right in front of the ball and probably should have had this one.
This was an ill-advised pass by Patrick Ramsey. You've got your free safety, Colin Branch, that's playing center field. That's why defensive backs don't play wide receiver. Their hands aren't very good.
So it's third down and 10.
He got it. He cut the ball.
Ramsey in the pocket, tosses it out, and again, this time it's dropped by Rod Gardner. Right in his mitts and just popped right out. Is it going to be tough for guys to hang on to the ball?
The football's going to be hard to hold on to, but one thing I liked in that series, the Redskins' pass protection was solid. Kenyatta Jones was solid against Julius Peppers. This is not the type of start that Joe Gibbs and his staff were looking for.
Steve Smith is back to field the punt from Kevin Stempke. He's a left footer. Lets it fly. Received at about the 28, and then immediately taken down. James Thrash gets in there with the first hit. 46-yard punt. Nothing on the return.
A little bit surprised that Carolina has got their starting wide receiver, Steve Smith, running punts back in a preseason game. Great coverage, and this is why the Redskins like James Thrash. You know, a veteran receiver that plays and contributes heavily on special teams.
Jake Delhome's at quarterback. And the first is the handoff to Davis. And he busted through. Of course, Davis, a fan favorite here before he was traded away to Carolina. He was the workhorse here in Washington. You see Washington starters on the defensive line. Delhomme, of course, when these two teams met in the preseason last year, Jake Delhomme was third on the depth chart at quarterback. And he leads them to the Super Bowl. Tossed to the sidelines, is out of bounds and incomplete. Bowen was over there on the coverage.
I remember very distinctly, as you see our defensive line, Reagan Upshaw, Cornelius Griffin, Salavea, they're really excited about this kid. Ronaldo Wynn. The one that they're bubbly about, number 53, Marcus Washington.
And the defensive backs, of course, they have to replace Champ Bailey, who was traded for Clinton Portis. Third down and 8 to 31. Delhomme wants to release it quickly, does, and has a completion to Ricky Proehl.
That is a great job by Delhomme, holding the ball to the last second. And you see a veteran receiver in Ricky Proehl knowing where the yard markers are, getting that first down. Redskins come with a corner cat. Got a flag on the play. Sean Springs did a great job disguising that blitz.
You were saying before the game that it's amazing Ricky Proehl is still able to play as long as he's been around.
Ricky Proehl is a tremendous possession receiver, and it's uncanny for this guy. 15 years in the league. But every time it comes down to a crunch time, he is always making huge plays. We can still remember the one that he made in St. Louis to carry them to a Super Bowl.
Well, it is a first down.
Getting back to Delhomme, I remember last year, the first preseason game, Dan Henning, our former quarterback coach in the first Gibbs era, I didn't even know how to pronounce Delhomme's name.
Who's this Delhomme guy?
And I asked Dan, I said, can this kid play? He says, oh, he's pretty good. And we found out as the season progressed how good he really was. It's not bad when you can turn around and hand it to 48 either.
Absolutely, as Redskins fans know all about. And there's the handoff there. Busted across the middle, but the line holds pretty well. Linebackers get up there and fill the holes.
Cornelius Griffin's one of those offseason acquisitions that we talked about earlier. This is a guy that is a space eater. 6'3", 300 pounds, but very active with his hands, very quick. Look at that neck. I mean, it's almost like his shoulders just kind of blend into his head.
He doesn't really have any shoulders. Second down, 8 yards to go. Delhomme, a little play action, wants to go deep. Coverage is there, and the ball is out of bounds. Springs was there on the coverage, but that ball was not going to be caught as it floated out of bounds.
Sean Springs did a good job right there of using the sideline for his second coverage guy. Guy that's been around the league for a while. I hate saying this. I played against his dad. Is that bad? His father was a great running back with the Dallas Cowboys. You see his numbers with Seattle. He's kind of fought the injury bug the last few years, but
it's not bad that you played with his dad. It just means you've got some mileage on you. 3rd and 8 at the 41. Delhomme's got to get a bunch. Hands it off to Davis, who busts his way loose. But I think he's short of the first down by a yard or so.
You've got to believe in the back of Stephen Davis's mind. Yeah, it's a preseason game, but I'm playing against a team that did not want to keep my services. I'm going to go that little bit extra.
Sauerbrunn, the punter. Simon is back to receive it. Sauerbrunn's been to 3 Pro Bowls. Hangs this one up there. Oh, hits the official at the goal line, and the official is in play. So that ball will be downed at the Redskin 1-yard line.
What is the official looking at? Obviously, he's tracking the guys that are coming downfield. I'll have to say, I've never seen this play before.
I'm wondering if he was fooled by the deep man. When we come back, it'll be Redskin ball at the preseason football on the Redskins broadcast network is brought to you by FedEx. Go air, go ground. Proud sponsor of the Washington Redskins and FedEx Field. By Bank of America, official bank sponsor of the Washington Redskins. Bank of America higher standards. And by Dominion, the official energy partner of the Washington Redskins. And brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I wonder if it'd save you field position when the official can't get out of the way on a punt.
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what he had his eyes on.
Well, he's obviously covering the return man. Redskin fans don't know how close that would have been to hitting him. Watch this, folks. You think you don't need to pay attention during an NFL game? Whoa. I've never seen this play, and I've been around football for 35 years.
Short was the one who got in to cover it, and the officials are talking about exactly what went wrong, but it doesn't do the Redskins any good as they come up with just terrible field position.
This is the best place on the field to throw the football. Everybody's expecting run. Best place to throw it.
You think that official's going to hear it for the rest of the night?
You know Bernie Kukar's right now going, you know you're going to be on all the sports highlight films.
Let's go to Chick Hernandez now is more on that ruling.
Well, you know what? I wish I knew the rule. And I think Danny Smith, the special teams coach for the Washington Redskins, is trying to get that explained to him right now. He's talking to the field judge saying, what's up with that? Who are you playing for? So they're going to get that worked out. By the way, rain expected to come back here. Winds of 25 to 40 miles per hour. The field is ready and set to go. It's supposed to take, it can take at least 5 inches of rain per hour. But again, the forecast is for rain, more wind. And I'm sure John and Bosco, you're now Doppler envy.
We've got it up here. We've got the radar, and we know exactly how to track the storm. We'll let people know if it's time to get out of the building. There are officials here, of course, from the National Football League, including one in the owner's box who would make a call to Commissioner Paul Tagliabue if there were lightning to come into the area, and if so, they possibly would call the game. Now the ball's going to be moved.
This is a preseason game, but officials have always been a part of the field. And if they stop the progress of the ball, that's where it came to rest. It should have stayed at the 1 yard line.
If a punt hits down in the end zone untouched by the
they're saying he was in the end zone when it hit him, which he clearly was not. They're saying he had 1 foot in the end zone when the ball hit him. As a result, it comes out to the 15. Now let's check. Which foot? It looks like both feet are out of the end zone as that contact is made.
That's a weird call. I've never seen an official get hit with it, number one, but secondly, to overturn it. And you know what it is? It's the power of Joe Gibbs.
Yes.
Or might it be Danny Smith? It's a special teams coach. I think he's the one that was really lobbying. We are in a city of lobbying, right?
Filled with lobbyers, especially over the next 3 or 4 months.
And how would you like to explain that to John Fox?
Well, there is no explaining it to him because the call, clearly by the replay that we have, is wrong. The official
Carolina
was standing on the 1 yard line when that ball hit him.
To see if, in fact, the ball did hit in the end zone.
The way I look at it, both feet, and I'll tell you what else, the way he reacted tells me that he knows both of his feet were outside of that end zone. I think he went back and tried to save a little face.
And just in case you need to know, his name is Steve Freeman. We want everybody to know the official that couldn't track the ball.
Do you have his email address as well?
I'm sure he'll get plenty of them.
So this is the longest delay.
Can you imagine if this were a regular season game and this call were overturned?
How about a playoff game?
Oh, gosh.
Can you imagine? Well, John Fox isn't happy about it as it is. Here's a guy who's done an unbelievable job as head coach of this team. Inherited a team that was 1-15. And in 2 years goes to the Super Bowl.
I can't believe we're still reviewing this call. I got a little side bet with you, John. It's going to go back on the one.
Back to the 1?
It's going back to the 1 yard line.
Well, unless they say it's inconclusive, but from the angles that they are supposed to have, it's hard to imagine that they would not have a replay that shows that the official was completely outside of the end zone.
What they should do are get the two head coaches together and just split the difference.
Take it back to the 7.
There's no way that Steve Freeman, the back judge, has either one of his feet in the end zone when the ball contacted him. This is why people hate instant replay. Make a decision and get the game going.
But it shouldn't take this long.
No.
I mean, they have instant replay in the National Hockey League, and they turn things around in a matter of seconds. I don't understand why this would take this long. It's almost as if they made the decision to overturn it before they went to the replay.
We're going to get an explanation right now. Bernie will be very thorough.
He's laughing.
Well, John Fox is laughing. Now, that probably means it's going back to the 1-yard line.
After reviewing the play, it has been determined that the official was straddling the goal line. However, before the ball hit him, he pulled his foot out of the goal line. We are placing the ball on the 2-yard line. First down.
2-yard line. So short recovery towards Washington in short distance. Well, what do they say? It's most important that they get it right. Yeah, they did gain a yard because it was at the 1. I'm sure Joe Gibbs is taking no heart in that. Clinton Portis in the backfield. Ramsey takes the snap, looks to pass right away, and does. Lavernius Coles with the reception.
Lavernius Coles is one of those guys, when you talk to the offensive staff and Joe Gibbs, he reminds me a lot of Gary Clark. Quick receiver, kind of small. You see his numbers, extremely tough. 82 catches, over 1,200 yards.
He was overlooked at Florida State because of Peter Warrick was there at the same time. But a lot of people thought he was every bit as good as Warrick. No problem with the snap again, it looks like. And ball is loose into the end zone. And it looks like the Redskins come up with it. They're going to say it didn't make it into the end zone, that the play was dead. Samuels gets on it.
And you're looking at
the 1.
You're looking at the back of Lenny Friedman. I think what happened, he snapped the ball early. Let's watch the replay. Didn't look like the left tackle Samuels was ready to go, and didn't look like Patrick Ramsey was ready to receive the snap. I've done that before. I've snapped the ball early.
Is that right?
It can happen.
It almost looked like, though, when he snapped it, he took it with him. And Ramsey was chasing after it. 3rd and 11. Portis gets him out to about the 9-yard line. Good strong run, but that'll bring on the punting unit. Stemke again is the punter tonight. Tom Tupa, who did most of the punting during the first preseason game. Steve Smith is back to receive the punt at his own 44-yard line. Stemke gets it off. Bit of a line drive. Fielded at the 50. Inside, cross to 35 and down to about the 31-yard line. Lamar Marshall with the stop. Smith, though, on the big gainer. 40-yard punt, 19 yards on the return.
Welcome back. Jake Hernandez here at FedEx Field. Redskins, Panthers scoreless. Of course, there's a little referee thing going on. We have Winter Olympian Michael Weiss here from Virginia. Now, of course, you know, they've had some judging problems in the Olympics. What should have happened out here?
That's amazing. I've never seen anything like that happen before. This is about as controversial as Olympic figure skating. The only difference is they got stripes on their shirts here, not at our rink.
Mike, thanks a lot. Let's head back to the booth.
Great comments. Jake Delhomme under the snap. Hands it off to Davis. Pounds his way to the left, down to about the 25-yard line. 5 yards on the carry. And LeVar Arrington with the stop.
Look at the numbers for Stephen Davis last year. Over 300 carries, 1,444 yards. He shattered the Panthers' one-season rushing record by almost 220 yards.
Loam again, and again gives it to the workhorse. Davis across the 20 and out of bounds. Lott with the stop with a little push out of bounds. Here's a familiar look. Stephen Davis playing for the Washington Redskins.
Very much one of those north and south runners. A little bit like John Riggins. Not great breakaway speed, but tremendous power between the tackles. You're talking about good years. How about 2001 for Stephen Davis? 1,400 yards. 99, 1,400 yards. Is there a pattern here?
Yeah, the guy is able to put him up. Delhomme tosses this one towards the sidelines. Reception is made by Smith and out of bounds by Springs. Knocks him out of bounds.
Football fans need to keep their eye on the left tackle for the Carolina Panthers. This kid is going to be a Pro Bowler. If not this year, you're always 1 year away from when you should make it. Jordan Gross, first-round pick. Last year was their right tackle. This whole offensive line has been remade. The only person that's starting in the same position, the center, Jeff Mitchell. Gross will be an All-Pro.
Changes in their offensive line and the defensive backfield. And again, Davis gets it, spins his way to the 4-yard line before Lott brings him down. Stephen Davis left town here. Much of the blame was put on Steve Spurrier. Is that the case in point?
Well, he really did not fit the Steve Spurrier offense. And, you know, you've got different theories. How well would this guy have fit in a Joe Gibbs offense?
Wow. Deshaun Foster gets the handoff and busts it down. I think they're going to call that ball dead. Now, the ball he was already down before the ball popped loose.
It's one of the things we talked about earlier, that wax film that's on the footballs, and you add the wet to it. Right there, a good job by number 34, Andre Lott, stripping the football. The officials got this one right. It didn't take a long time to determine what we were going to do. Carolina Panthers probably one of the most balanced offenses last year, rushing for over 2,000 yards, throwing for over 3,500.
Second and goal. And the Redskins come up with a goal line stand. Hoover was the ball carrier. Haley was in there coming up with the first hit on the stop. Some big boys up front there. Davis snap in the backfield. Ball at the 1. They hand it off, and he's stopped again. LeVar Arrington, with some help from Pierce, brings down Davis short of the goal line.
Watch the penetration by the right side of the Redskin defensive line. 91. Great penetration by Reagan Upshaw. That's what really blows the play up. It makes Stephen Davis try and turn back and get inside, and all the pursuit caught him.
This will be a 19-yard field goal attempt. And the lefty boots that one right through. So Carolina's on the board first with a field goal on a 3-0 lead. You know football. Well, you can go to www.redskins.com and sign up for the Chevrolet Redskins Home Team Challenge today. The Chevrolet Redskins Home Team Challenge is the only fantasy football league where you can play weekly and win great prizes like authentic Redskins merchandise, tickets to an upcoming Redskins game, or even a trip to Super Bowl 39 in Jacksonville. The Chevrolet Redskins Home Team Challenge is free, so sign up today. Thrash and Scott are back ready to receive the kickoff. Casey gets his foot into it. And it's deep. Down to the 1-yard line. Here's Scott has it. And there's a little room before he's upended at the 20-yard line. A 19-yard return. Ricky Manning Jr. coming up with the stop. 3-0. Ramsey and the Redskins go to work when we return. John Saunders and Jeff Bostic here. Chick Hernandez down on the field. 3-0 Carolina has the lead. And Washington's offense has struggled, but they've been starting from deep in their own territory. There's 26, the 2, and now the 21. It's tough to get things going. Some signals, hands this one off, and Portis shows the quick speed. Clinton Portis felt that he was disrespected in Denver after putting together back-to-back 1,500-yard seasons, and heard over and over again that it was the system and not the running back because of the ability of Mike Shanahan to turn out 1,000-yard rushers.
Anybody that gains 1,500 yards in 13 games, enough said.
That's not just the system. Rash comes over to the right side. Ramsey drops back, has to step up in the pocket, has a man deep, and overthrows him, looking for Lavernius Coles. And Coles had a step or two on the defenders, but the ball was just a little deep.
Even though that's an incompletion, you've got to like the call by Gibbs and his offensive staff, stretching the field, making the Panthers cover deep routes, and Coles gets behind him. Even though it's an incomplete pass, I like the call. And how pretty does Ramsey throw the football? Nice tight spirals.
But he used a little air under that one. The numbers for Lavernius Coles from a season ago. He's got some pretty good company there. Ramsey this time has it batted right back into his face by Julius Peppers. There's a flag. And it's in the secondary.
Illegal contact, 20 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So the Redskins catch a break on something that's a point of emphasis for the officials this year, and they get a first down. Something they've been looking for.
That's not the way that Coach Gibbs would have liked to have seen him pick it up.
That's not how he wants to get his first.
That's not exactly the way
down.
the blueprint has been made.
Ramsey again hands it off to Portis. And he's struggling to pick up maybe a yard.
The one thing I can guarantee you with a Joe Gibbs coach football team, during the preseason, you're going to get the most watered down, vanilla game plan you can imagine. Probably 2 or 3 formations, 2 or 3 runs, and 3 or 4 pass protections. Look at the numbers at Portis. 122 yards per game that he played in.
Most popular Clinton in this town right now. Ramsey might be audibling. Drops back.
Ball.
Looking for Coles again, and it was just out of his reach. Gamble was over there on defending. Ramsey is 1 of 5 for 5 yards here in the first quarter.
This is not the type of statement that Patrick Ramsey was looking to make to win the confidence of the coaching staff and Joe Gibbs, who will ultimately decide who starts this season at quarterback.
Well, coming back from a foot injury, how tough is that for a quarterback?
I've talked to him about his foot. His foot is completely fine.
Has to step forward in the pocket and gets rid of the ball. It looks like they're going to call the sack, and they are. Julius Peppers again. Julius Peppers is one of those guys that is hard to figure out how a human being ended up like that.
6'6", 283 pounds. Look how lean this guy is. And I'm sure all you baseball, basketball, football fans know that this guy played basketball at the University of North Carolina.
Yes, he did, and he was a very good one as well. Baker back to receive the punt. Gets it at the 29. Moves to his right, but quickly has nowhere to go. Great coverage by the Redskins special teams. 49-yard punt and a 3-yard return.
And we've got a flag on the field. I'm betting it's going to be a late hit on the Redskins. Looked like somebody dove in there with their helmet. I may be wrong. Oh, the Redskins are pointing the other way.
And they're backing him up. Personal foul.
Personal foul, 39 of the receiving team. That's a 15-yard penalty.
So now Carolina will get a taste of what Washington has been looking at this entire first quarter, and that's in terrible field position. They'll start out at about their 12-yard line when we come back. The NFC champion Panthers up 3-0.
Papa John's introduces better buffalo wings in spicy buffalo or mild barbecue. Served with blue cheese or ranch sauce. Any order of 10 wings is just $6.99. Go to any participating Papa John's and receive a large cheese pizza for $8.99. With each topping or with each touchdown, the Redskins score, get one topping and a 120-ounce Coke, all for good only the day after the game. And how about this, guys? John, we're going to be eating large. We got wings, we've got pizza.
Can we get the guys to hold the game up, though, while we eat that? Great pass by Delhomme. Nassim Muhammad, who may have seen a piece of that pizza himself. 25 yards on the pickup. And so Carolina quickly gets out of that poor field position. Oh, nice move.
That's the little double move. One of the advantages of when you're playing on wet fields, offensive players know where they're going. You don't see Fred Smoot bite on double moves very often.
Delhomme tosses it over to the right. And quickly the Redskins are there. Smith with the reception, but he had nowhere to go once he picked it up. And Smith's seeing a lot of action between fielding kicks and picking up a couple of passes.
A little word to the wise to John Fox and his Carolina Panthers. Yeah, you won the NFC Championship game. You won the right to serve the NFC as a participant in the Super Bowl. Winning an NFC Championship game is a lot easier than trying to defend one.
That pass intended for Deshaun Foster, and then almost picked off by Bowen, but it just drops right out of his hands.
This interception would be what you call a lollipop. Bounces right out of Deshaun Foster's hand. Watch, this is why defensive backs are not wide receivers. Offensive linemen can catch these balls.
Oh, right in the breadbasket.
And this is one that your team has got to take advantage of. Two reasons. Look at the field position.
I was going to say, not to mention, he could have picked up a few yards. 3rd and 8, there's a flag. Flag called before the play got off.
Offside. 91 defense.
Offside on the
towards the
defense,
quarterback.
the Redskins.
The 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Very often see him get a free play out of that, but that was blown dead quickly. Third and 3 at the 49. And the Redskins want a timeout. Let's check in with Chick Hernandez, who has something about big LeVar Arrington.
Oh, guys, you know that LeVar's had, what, 5 different defensive coordinators now in 5 seasons. He's got Greg Williams behind him now, and he's enjoying that very much so. But Joe Gibbs' era for him, all guys are trying to petition the other coaches to, hey, coach, let's get out of the full pads during practice. And to a man, every coach has said, don't come to me, go to Coach Gibbs. We talked to Arrington yesterday. He said, Coach Gibbs threw out the shells already. We keep going full pads. Bosco, you know what that's like. Is there any chance they can get that done?
I'm really not an expert on this, Chick. I only played for Joe for 12 years, but they will remain in full pads. They're not coming out of them.
3rd and 3. DeLome. Quick toss ahead of the intended receiver, Muhsin Muhammad. And so it'll be punting time for the Carolina Panthers.
Is it me or both of these offenses are completely out of sync?
Completely.
Carolina has been the proud recipient of great field position, and the Redskins offense is just a, you know, something's breaking down every play.
And you can't blame it on the weather. It hasn't been weather-related things. Sour run with the punt. Simon is back, lets it go over his head and roll into the end zone. Whoop, and we get a little action after the play is dead. We're going to have some personal fouls. You never got involved in anything like that when you were playing, did you?
The one thing that I always knew was if you got into a fight, that would make you even tireder, right? Jared Cooper right there. They're running him toward the sideline. Once he gets out of bounds, you can't hit him. He's back in play. Look at Smoot. He's like a little pit bull, isn't he? Well, that's what he got mad about, a little clip in the back. That's going to be a 15-yarder on Carolina.
They might be offsetting, though, because the second flag came in as well, which could be on the Redskins.
Personal foul, 40 of the kicking team. The ball was a touchback. Will add 15 yards.
Nope.
First down, Washington.
Personal foul does go against just Carolina.
That drives the coach nuts for one reason. You have put your own emotions in front of your team. You just cost your team 15 yards. And as scarce as first downs are right now, 15 yards is huge.
Well, especially for Washington that has had such terrible field position to start each drive. A little better off here starting at the 35. Ramsey takes a snap. Play action. And again wants to go deep. And this time Lavernius Coles comes up with the big reception.
Patrick Ramsey showed the toughness. Stayed in the pocket till the last second and tasted gunpowder. Great throw. Tremendous catch by Lavernius Coles. For a little guy, does not mind going across the middle of the field.
34 yards on the pickup.
Patrick Ramsey absolutely got tattooed. You like that in your quarterback. Tough guy. He ought to be used to being tattooed after last season.
You're saying that he didn't get a lot of protection under the old scheme?
He didn't get much at all. Late penetration by Bruckner. Look at that. It's not quite fair. You know, 310 or 315-pound defensive lineman landing on top of you.
No, that does not seem fair, especially when these big guys can move as quickly as they can now. Vernius Coles, who took quite a lick to come up with that catch. Just a little limp, but not enough to take him out.
This time of year, 2 weeks into camp, everything on your body is sore.
Skins at the 31 with a first down. And off to Clinton Portis. And Portis gets a couple.
In talking to my old offensive line coach, Joe Bugle, I said, how was last week's game? He said, at the point of attack, we were good. Same thing cost the Redskins right there. The backside cutoff of Chris Samuels. People do not realize how important it is for those backside guys to seal those defensive linemen off. That's what creates the seams.
2nd and 7 now. 3-yard pickup by Portis as Ramsey comes over to the sidelines. As the first quarter comes to an end. And we can at best call it a sloppy one. And a 3-0 lead for Carolina, but the big pickup by Lavernius Coles, and there's a look at Joe Bugle. Joe's house, Gibbs, Bugle, take your pick. We're coming back. 3-0 Carolina. Welcome back with the Bank of America first quarter statistics, and the rushing balance goes to Carolina, as does the passing yards, first downs. But the penalties have been a problem for Carolina, and that's why it's just a 3-0 game.
Time of possession, something Gibbs teams always want to have the upper hand on.
Oops. Somebody moved who shouldn't have. The illegal procedure is going to be the call.
False start. 80 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Oops.
Maybe he just had a cramp. What do you think?
Or a hiccup.
You know, his leg was bothering him after that catch over the middle. It was probably a cramp. The officials ought to, you know, realize that.
Exactly. Didn't you see me get hit at the other end of the field?
He is running funny, though, isn't he?
Muscle spasm. 2nd down and 12 now. Ramsey. Look right now to the left. It has Coles, but it's picked off. The ball was underthrown and picked off by Wesley. And Ramsey comes over to the sidelines knowing that he had 6 points if he'd have tossed that one just another 2 feet. John Fox squad will go on offense when we return. Fans, this football season, satisfy your tailgating hunger at Giant. Burgers, hot dogs, snacks, drinks, and much more. Everything you'll need, and don't forget your bonus card. So stop by your tailgating headquarters now. You've got a Giant on your side. Rodney Peete is now in at quarterback. 16-year veteran. Was the starter a couple of years ago before giving way to Jake Delhomme. Hands it off in the backfield to Deshaun Foster, who gets it out to about the 7 or 8 yard line.
Redskin fans have got to be happy to see number 75 back on the football field. Broke his hand. That's what that little club is. But last year, remember, season-ending injury in the preseason. Tore his ACL, MCL, dislocated his kneecap. I was talking to him yesterday. I said, this is going to be the best thing for you, to get hit on that knee, get live contact, and put it behind you.
That's a lot of bad luck to come on one guy.
Have you ever seen a dislocated kneecap?
Yes, I have.
It's not a pretty sight.
No, nor does it feel very well. Peete with the fake to the left and tosses it to Foster. Look quickly into the backfield. Fred Smoot is in there to knock him down from his feet.
Everybody talks about Smoot and his ability to cover man-to-man. This is a good job of getting upfield and making a tackle. Look at the hustle by 91 Reagan Upshaw. You know, Smoot may be small, but he's smart. Look where he tries to tackle Foster. Not up high. Let's get down around those ankles.
And he never bit on the fake one bit. 3-yard loss. 3rd and 9 at the 5. Pete drops back into the end zone. Passes it to Foster. Foster's going to struggle. Smoot is over there again to come up with a stop.
The defense is making a statement. I bet you Patrick Ramsey would like to have that last pass he made back.
Yes. Sauerbrunn will be punting from his own end zone. Simon about midfield. Oh, it's a good punt. Chases him back to the 35. 70 yards, that ball was in the air, and then a good fight to get the ball across the 46-yard line.
They're going to call Douglas for a clip in the back. He hit Jared Cooper in the back. Late flag by the official. Maybe it's harder to pull those flags out of your pants than you know?
Well, maybe, with the water and the rain, they're
Yeah.
a little heavier. As a result, it's difficult to get them out of the pocket.
You always need to be able to see his eyes. If you can read his name label on the back of his jersey, it's not good to hit him. Right there. That is a no-no.
Illegal block in the back. Number 14.
And again, it's going to cost the Redskins some field position.
10-yard penalty. First down.
We'll end up with the ball on the 32-yard line. That punt officially a 59-yarder, but don't forget it came from 9 yards deep in the end zone. Ramsey ready to go to work, down 3-0. Because of playing in the Hall of Fame game, the Redskins actually get 5 preseason games. The next one on the Redskin Broadcast Network next Saturday at 7:30 at the Miami Dolphins. And Jeff, have you ever seen an off season like the Miami Dolphins have seen?
They've got Murphy's Law happening to them right now. If it can go wrong, it has gone wrong.
Ramsey still at quarterback. Hands the ball off to Cartwright. And Rock doesn't go anywhere. No gain.
You know, a guy that's going to really have to step up for this offensive line is Chris Samuels with the departure of Jansen to injury. Talking to Joe Bugle, said probably played the best game last week that he's done in 2 years. And we'll expand on that in a moment.
Ramsey with 2 men split to his right. Hands it off. And Cartwright again. And again, he has a very little gain, maybe a yard or 2.
Getting back to Chris Samuels, this is a guy that would admittedly tell you he had an off season in 2003. In comes Joe Gibbs, in comes Joe Bugle. I'm convinced Joe Bugle is the best offensive line coach the league has ever seen. I asked Samuels back in May, I said, what do you think about your new coach? He said, I love Bugle. He is going to save my career.
Wow. That's a lot of respect for someone. Ramsey drops back, steps forward, tosses a strike, and there's a penalty on the play. Lavernius Coles with the catch. And the flag came after that. 16 yards on the gain.
Illegal contact. Illegal contact. 23 defense. That penalty is declined. First down.
Called it on Terrence Shaw, and they should really call this rule the Ricky Manning Jr. rule. Last season in the postseason, what he got away with, contacting receivers 8, 10, 12 yards downfield. Ask the Philadelphia Eagles. Ask Andy Reid.
Well, the rule has been in place 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage. You're not supposed to touch him. But this year, they are going to enforce it. Ramsey has that one batted away. Wesley gets in there and gets a hand in front of the intended receiver, Gardner.
It's almost like Ramsey's holding the ball just a little too long. Gardner came out of his break and had to wait on the ball. When you wait on the ball, it allows your corner the ability to close. Look at his numbers, 3 for 9. 1 interception. It probably could have been more.
And all 3 receptions he's tossed have been to Lavernius Coles. Gardner comes back to the left again. Ramsey drops back. Got good protection. Looks to the sidelines. Whew. Picked up by Thrash, who is promptly tossed out of bounds. Cooper with a very effective tackle.
All the Washington fans are really familiar with James Thrash. Spent his early years here in Washington, went to Philadelphia for 3 or 4 years and is back. I don't know if it's necessarily a good sign, John, if the wide receiver is wearing 17, unless you're Harold Carmichael.
No.
When the season starts, he will have an 80 number.
I was going to say, at this point in the season, you might be able to get away with it. The little guys normally wearing those numbers aren't going to be sticking around. And it looked like a lot of contact there as well before the ball arrived. But no flag. Gardner, again, the intended receiver. Shaw was the one with his arms wrapped all around him. But no flag.
Terrence Shaw got away with a lot of contact. Gardner just runs a little crossing pattern right there. You could see his hands on his back early. The officials, it's some preseason for them also.
Baker back to receive the punt from Stemke. Lofts it. Fair catch is called by Baker, and they'll have the ball at the 10-yard line after a 33-yard punt. Again, low-scoring affair here at FedEx Field. Carolina Panthers with a 3-0 lead. Welcome back here, where you can see a chuckling Mark Brunell as he gets set to come into this game. He started the first game. And there's big changes in the coaching staff as well. Williams is an assistant head coach, but the man who runs the defense. Rodney Peete. The handoff to Deshaun Foster, who has nowhere to go. Warner came up with the tackle there.
Getting our first look at the #1 draft pick, Sean Taylor. It's almost like he's waving to everybody. I tell you, you talk to Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator. Absolutely amazed at the athleticism of this kid. 6'2". 230 pounds and runs in the 4.3s. That is a scary combination.
And it comes out of Miami, so you know there's no lack of confidence there. Good handoff to Foster, who busts it. The ball pops loose, rolls around. Looks like Carolina's going to get on top of it. Brzezinski just got in there ahead of 3 of the Redskins.
Very beneficial that you'll see all year long. Redskin offensive lineman breaking down Phil. Here's a case of Doug Brzezinski hustling. Offensive lineman. The ball pops out. Now, I don't know what he's got all over his arms. Have you seen his arms? There's Taylor ripping the ball out. We need to get a close-up of Brzezinski's arms because he has spent some serious money at a tattoo shop.
I was going to say, you want to talk about artwork, body art. He's got it all covered. Pete. Again with the handoff, great penetration. Foster has nowhere to go as Marshall got in there quickly into the backfield and got a hand on him.
And what happens to Brzezinski after his playing days where, you know, he's awfully big now, but his arms are going to get smaller? Does that mean his tattoos are going to kind of
sag?
I don't know. Look at that, though. Can you imagine?
Yeah, they're going to sag.
Somewhere at home, somebody's going, that's my son. That's my son.
Well, somewhere else, there's a tattoo artist going, that's my work.
And Doug Brzezinski keeps saying, I like your work. I love your work.
2nd and 10 from the 27-yard line for Carolina. Pete drops back to pass and then looks to dump it off. That's got to be an incomplete pass. It was intended for Foster, but it didn't come anywhere near him.
And the Redskins are playing with some of their reserve linemen. Both Ron Warner and Greg White have stood out early. This was a jailbreak. Rodney Peete, the veteran quarterback, realizes get rid of the football, live for another play.
Third down and 10 to 27. Redskins looking for a big stop. Hope to set up some decent field position. Peete looking to pass, looking deep, looking across the middle, and it's picked off. Franz steps in front of the ball, rolls once, and takes off. I'm going to say down by contact when he made the reception.
Tremendous job by Todd Franz of reading Rodney Peete's eyes. One thing about it, when you're a free safety, you can sit back kind of in that catbird seat. There it is, and then breaking on the football.
We've got a new quarterback for the Redskins, Mark Brunell. Back into the game after starting game number 1 of the preseason. He goes across the middle immediately, but that ball is dropped by Rock Cartwright.
You know, it's early in preseason, but these are the little things that drive Gibbs nuts. You know, last week Cartwright fumbled the football. That is a huge no-no. The other thing that happens is little drop passes. Rock Cartwright's a solid football player, but right now he's in the convincing mode for Joe Gibbs.
Difference between a 5-yard gain and nothing is what they have. 2nd and 10. Brunell again looking to pass. Going deeper this time. Cooley comes up with a 23-yard grab as he couldn't have been more wide open.
Redskins got them in a blitz. Jesse Armstead, the former Redskin, comes on a Sam blitz. Cooley is wide open. Jared Cooper, the safety, comes over late. Good recognition. They're going to remember the name Cooley, Chris Cooley. This kid's going to be a player, the H-back type, a la Clint Didier.
Brunell has his Skins marching for the first time, looking for the end zone. And the ball was just thrown a little too hard for Jacobs. The flag comes late as there was contact right about the goal line. Tillman.
Watch the top of the helmet. When that head goes down, the officials will take care of the receivers, quarterbacks, running backs.
Half the distance of the goal. First down.
That's one of those bang-bang plays that I'm not sure there was anything he could do about it, but just the same, it is a penalty. Fox is arguing his man was already in motion.
And I think the thing that bothers the officials, the head being down. If his face would have been up, probably would have been no flag.
So Skins have it, 1st and 8 on the 8, 1st and goal. Brunell with the handoff to Cartwright. Looked like he was going to get a little bit of space and drops it down maybe to the 7-yard line.
Do you know how many hours those two gentlemen, Joe Gibbs and Don Bro, have spent standing beside one another at football games? 12 years. And this is how different it is with Joe Gibbs now. Everything is wireless communication to the Redskins quarterbacks. Don Bro used to signal all our plays in. We'd have one guy signaling, one guy giving dummies. Don was always the guy giving it.
Handoff again to Cartwright on the 2nd and goal play, and again he just picks up a yard, so it's down to the 5, 3rd and goal.
That was the old 60 counter tray right there. Many people remember that play. John Riggins, later on in life, George Rogers, Gerald Riggs, Ernest Bonner, who's the running back coach. EB looks like he could still play.
He looks like he could strap that uniform on him right now, and you wouldn't know he's one of the coaches instead of one of the players. Third down. Brunell rolls out to his left, looking for the end zone, barking signals, throws it incomplete in the end zone, but there is a flag. Flag thrown at the opposite side of the field. So we'll see if it's a defensive penalty, which, judging by the fact that Mark Brunell is making no move towards the sidelines, looks like it will be.
Illegal formation. Number 84 was not on the line of scrimmage. That
Illegal
penalty is
procedure
declined. Fourth down.
Against the Redskins, and it's declined. So out comes the field goal team, John Hall. 8 years out of Wisconsin. Stemke will be the holder. A 23-yard attempt for Hall. Should be nothing more than a chip shot. Bangs it through and ties the game at 3 apiece. John Fox's defense holds, but the Redskins get on the board. Is the score here. Smart and Baker are back on the goal line as Hall gets set to kick off.
Does that mean football and Gatorade go together? Is it in you? Right? Is it in you?
If it's not, it will be.
You know, I have to be honest with you. I was a water guy during my career.
Really?
I drank Gatorade one time and got the worst case of cotton mouth. Yeah, there it is.
Did somebody spike your Gatorade? That's what. That might be the question.
It may have been Riggins. That's exactly what happened. Riggins probably spiked the Gatorade.
And Hall with the kickoff. It'll go inside the 5. Where Baker fields it and is taken down immediately at about the 18-yard line. Ohalete with the takedown.
How about that name, Ifiani Ohalete? And you see him wearing a new jersey. Last year he was 36, and that went to Sean Taylor. But I understand that came with some high price tags. Cash, vacations at Sean Taylor's home, use of a car for years. Just over a number.
Could have given him some vowels. I know you got the deal done. Rodney Peete hands it off in the backfield. Foster fights his way into a pile and may have 4 yards.
You know, every time that you think about the safety position, early it was Larry Wilson, right?
Right.
That revolutionized the position. And then you had a guy like Kenny Easley that was really a big guy. This guy is going to be that same type of impact player. He is a linebacker playing safety, but he's got corner speed.
Peete just dumps the ball off. Good speed by Baker. Breaks it to the outside. Down to about the 45-yard line.
Defensive coordinator Greg Williams said one thing that really floored me yesterday when we were speaking. This is what we used to call a 4 route. Carolina gets tremendous pass protection. It's not a good matchup when you've got a wide receiver matched up with a middle linebacker. Kevin Mitchell is not going to outrun the receiver.
Ball at the 39. Peete this time hands it off to Foster.
Look who's up there making the contact, 36, Sean Taylor. But Greg Williams said one thing yesterday that really floored me. He says, I want to see Sean Taylor get his doors blown off by a wide receiver. And I said, well, Coach, why would you say that? He said, this guy is so confident. He sits down on all the Washington Redskins receivers in practice. He said, they can't run by him. He said, I want to see him get hooked up with a wide receiver and get toasted. I said, give them about 2 more weeks when they go to St. Louis. They've got plenty of speed at wide receiver.
Yes, they do. Pete back, looking to pass. Goes to the sidelines, turn around, the ball is caught. Colbert had to spin his body one way while going out of bounds to grab that thing.
As a cornerback, obviously you're focused on your wide receiver. At some point, the corner has to find out where the football is. I think they're going to appeal this one.
Well, a little
they
late
quick
now.
snapped it.
Pete goes to the sideline again. Nice job to stay in bounds by Hankton. Yeah, there were not 2 feet in, and he was not pushed out.
1 foot, obviously.
No.
Right foot did not come down in bounds. Quick snapped it. Redskin fans are going to like this guy, the defensive coordinator. Former head coach at Buffalo. One of the architects of the Tennessee Titans defense back in their Super Bowl runs. And, you know, the thing about it, this coaching staff has accountability. Greg Williams and Joe Gibbs have said one thing. If we don't win here, it's not Dan Snyder's fault. He said, they're allowing us to bring our people in with our systems. And if we don't get it done, point the finger at us.
Well, accountability is one of the things you think of when you think of Joe Gibbs. Class is another. You see the coaching experience. And 21 years of head coaching experience combined between these 3 men.
Greg Williams was with Buffalo, and obviously my old line coach, Joe Bugle, was with the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Football Raiders. This offensive line will be so much better this year with Joe Bugle. They are finally going to get a guy that knows the game and can teach it.
And a guy that doesn't look any older than he did when he coached you.
He looks better than he did in 1981. He's probably 15 pounds lighter. He's got to be dyeing his hair, though.
I was going to say there's not enough gray in that thing. Pete is back, looking, and gets hit as he releases the ball.
I think they're calling this a fumble.
I'm going to say that was a lateral. No, they're going to confer on it. Pete was looking deep to the end zone, realized he had nothing there, and then just turned back to his right. Warner and White
Watch
get in
Rodney
on him.
Pete's arm, though. Warner applies the pressure. He definitely throws the ball, but Bernie Kukar, who is the referee, when he's got that frozen spell, that means that the ball is still live.
That ball looked like it was headed backwards.
I think they got that little buzzer to review the play, right?
They do. And the officials begin to gather. And Rodney Peete follows right behind them. You think about the durability of Rodney Peete to stay around this league 15, 16 years.
Well, he hasn't exactly been a first stringer his whole career either. You can hang around this league a long time as a backup. The only thing you have to do is during the preseason prove you can play, and during the regular season when you're called upon, prove you can play. Some backups do a great job in the preseason against basic defenses, get into the regular season, can't cut it. One of the guys that stayed in this league the longest, with probably playing the least, Don Stroud.
That's who I was going to bring up myself.
18 years. It's not bad when you get stuck behind a guy named Marino.
Washington is challenging the ruling on the field of incomplete pass. They feel it's a backward pass.
I don't see them moving the football, so I'm not sure if they changed the call. Someone is explaining something to Rodney Peete.
You think Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, doesn't have the full attention of the defense? He's almost halfway between the sideline and the numbers, and look at all of them just standing there and listening intently.
Washington is using their challenge here to go take a look at the video replay, as this would be a huge play. Instead of the ball being at the 28, the ball would probably come back almost to the 35-yard line.
We talked about this earlier, how shocking it was to me for Joe Gibbs to come back and coach this football team. And talking to these Redskin players right now, they are so thrilled that he's here. Just a whole new mentality. LeVar Arrington, you know, he's giddy. Chris Samuels, thrilled that Gibbs is here. And I think the thing that it leads instant credibility is when you go into that facility, one of the first things you see when you walk in that reception room is 3 Lombardi trophies.
Right.
All of them orchestrated by Joe Gibbs. Now, is there a belief that he can get them back to that level? Yes. Will the fans probably have to be patient? Probably.
After reviewing the
don't
play,
be surprised
it is
if
an
this
incomplete
team
forward pass.
goes 10-6 this
Charge
year.
timeout, Washington.
If they can stay healthy, it wouldn't shock me if they go 10-6.
Well, if they go 10-6, they'll have a heck of a shot of being in the playoffs.
Is Dallas going to be better without Quincy Carter? Is Vinny Testaverde? Are they going to equal their wins last year? The Eagles are obviously the favorite in the East. The Giants have got a new football coach.
And 2 new quarterbacks.
And one of them got paid a lot of money.
Peete hands this one off to Deshaun Foster.
He didn't get it.
He's bottled up quickly. And that's going to be 4th down and still a yard to go. And Casey's going to come in and settle for the 3 points. Rodney Peete is in the Redskins huddle. They're going to measure first before deciding whether or not it's 4th down. And it is.
Why would they measure? That's not even close.
It's a long yard.
You know what? This is
a yard and a half.
This is one of the coaches' things to getting players rest, right? I mean, they can see that from the sideline.
This is a team that played in the Super Bowl a year ago before losing to New England, who won their 2nd Super Bowl in 3 years.
And for being one of the most boring games for the first quarter and a half, those next 2.5 quarters were amazing. And how many times can Adam Vinatieri come out and win a Super Bowl with a field goal from that distance, 46 or 7 yards?
As many times as they ask. This is a 46-yard attempt. And we get the 2-minute warning. So we're going to take a break. And Casey will have a little more time to think about that 46-yarder when we come back. John Saunders, Jeff Bostic, and Chick Hernandez here on the Redskin Broadcast Network. At the 2-minute warning, is Casey will set up for a field goal that would put Carolina on top by 3. That's all we've seen in this game, our field goals.
Is that like 2-to-1 baseball games? Low scoring?
Yep. With an error or 2 thrown in. Gets his leg into it. It's low. Was that tipped at the line? Because that thing came out of there like a knuckleball.
It's almost like his holder dropped it or something. It came out of there kind of doing like the boomerang thing.
If anybody gets a hand up on this.
Good penetration in the middle of the line.
Maybe a piece of the arm.
Kevin Mitchell, maybe. Looked like it may have been. Normally, though, when you tip a ball, players are so proud they're going to let everybody in the stadium know.
Exactly.
Final numbers for Patrick Ramsey: 7 for 19, 62 yards in 2 preseason games, and 1 interception.
That's not a great resume to go into the season with, although he's still got 3 more preseason games to go. Brunell now drops back to pass. Fires over to the right, where Cooley comes up with it and has a first down.
We're going to have a holding penalty on Kenyatta Jones. First time we've called his name. That's a good thing for offensive linemen. Why is it we only call their name during penalties? Because whenever a running back gains 9 yards, it's a great
74
run.
offense.
You never go
10-yard
back
penalty,
and show the guy
still first down.
who made the terrific block. But no, he gets a penalty, and the camera is right in his face. Sorry, Kenyatta.
Started 11 games for New England in 2002. Got a Super Bowl ring, huh? You like that one? Is that pretty good?
Yeah, I'm looking at that. That's
I'm going to let you
nice.
wear it for the rest of the half.
All right. It's kind of heavy.
It's kind of big, isn't it?
Huge. I earned it, though. I watched you play the entire season. We're now trying to scramble out of trouble. Goes over to the sideline.
That's what we call a busted play. And that's the only time you'll see a kicker get involved, trying to catch the quarter. You're not going to see him in contact.
Witherspoon over there to chase him out. This is the 91 World Championship ring that you handed me.
And they put so much information on it.
That's beautiful.
Your position, your number, your record of the season, 17-2. Pretty special, huh?
Yeah, it's very special. You were part of some special football teams here in Washington.
And that's why they've got Gibbs back here now, to try and rekindle that organization and put the shine back on those trophies in that hallway at Redskin Park.
Brunell tosses this one underneath to Gary Scott. 14 yards on the game.
This offensive line has done a great job, with one exception. When Ramsey got hit earlier in the game. Look at this pocket. This is the type of pocket quarterbacks like, and this is the type of route he likes to see him run. Getting into his move, breaking out hard, throw and catch.
Brunell again drops back. And again across the middle. And again looking for Scott, but this one was underthrown.
The exact same route from the opposite side.
And it had the opposite result as well. So Washington is going to have to punt it away. Stempke. Poteet is back at about his 10-yard line. That one's going to be short. Drops at about the 28 and rolls out of bounds at about the 24. Nope, they're going to walk it all the way back up to the 27. I'm sure Stempke was trying to angle that one towards the sidelines, but I think he would have rather angled that one inside the 10. It's just a 33-yard kick.
Does John Fox and the Carolina Panthers try and go for more points before the half?
Why not? You have 58 seconds left.
This is one of those situations where
Preseason.
you're backed up in your own end a little bit. Careful where you throw the ball.
Rodney Peete, the quarterback. Hands it off. Foster has an opening and stays on his feet to get it up near the 35-yard line. Franz brings him down. Second down and 4 at the 33. Peete dumps it across the middle, and that ball should have been caught. Deshaun Foster, though, just could not hang on to it.
How many 2-minute drills do you think Rodney Peete has run in his career?
Countless.
His dad was a football coach in this league and a scout later. Good football coach at Green Bay. Can you imagine coaching at Green Bay and your son was a starting quarterback at Detroit at the same time?
No. Carolina just 1-7 in third down conversions. Pete again looking to pass. Again has a man. That ball looked like it was underthrown and again bounced. Intended for Hankton, but it one-hopped him. So they're now 1 of 8 on third down conversions. And Sauerbrunn would come in to punt.
Redskins come with a little blitz. Top of your screen, little corner cat. They get a little penetration, but no real heat. You ready for your halftime grades?
I'm ready for my halftime pizza.
Defense probably an A-. Special teams probably a B+. Offense probably a C-.
That's being kind. Simon fields the ball across the 20, where he's quickly taken down at the 21. Hoover is in there with the hit first.
I did not think Joe Bugle and the offensive staff would keep their starting offensive line in the game as long as they have.
Well, with some of the changes that they've had to make, moving people to different positions and such, maybe he wanted to see what he had.
Well, when you start plugging in a new guy at right tackle, it takes a long time for that chemistry and knowing what the guy beside you is going to do. It takes a long time for that to really sink in, and it'd be like the back, in the back of your hand, knowing what the guy beside you is going to do.
And that's going to do it for the first half of play. There's a couple of field goals. One in the first quarter by Carolina, and one in the second quarter by the Redskins. And the rain that we were expecting to be a torrential downpour at this point has not shown up. So perhaps we can look forward to a pretty good offensive second half as defense ruled the roost in the first. Again, 3-3 halftime coming up.
Now, from WUSA 9 News, this is the Redskins Halftime Report.
Our weather right now, no washout out there, not enough to dampen the spirits at the Redskins game. The Skins coming back a little bit, tying things up. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tracy Neal, and this is your halftime report. Let's talk about Hurricane Charlie now. Downgraded at this hour to a tropical storm, but that doesn't mean we won't be feeling a bit of his punch as Charlie makes his way up the East Coast. 9 News reporter Emily Schmidt right now in Annapolis monitoring the winds, the waters, and just about everything else. Hi, Emily.
Hi, Tracy. It's barely sprinkling here. It is still, and people in Annapolis hope it stays that way. Remember, when Isabel hit in September, the water level was up to here. No indication that Charlie will pack that kind of punch, but people here taking every precaution. Outer boat slips have been cleared. Business is sandbagged. We'll give you the latest after the game.
Sounds good. Thanks, Emily. Let's get the official word on our weather now. Check in with our meteorologist, Tony Pan. Hey.
Hey, big miss for us here in the city. Yeah, exactly. It passed over to the east. Looks like the eye, or what's left of the circulation, is going to go over towards Ocean City. And for us here in the metro area, that's certainly good news. But our neighbors over on the eastern shore are going to get hit pretty hard over the next few hours with some heavy rain and some wind gusts over 30-40 miles per hour. But certainly nothing like when Isabel went through, and that's good news. The storm just passed too far to the east. We'll talk more about it tonight at 11 o'clock. Let me be the first to welcome you here to Channel 9.
Thank you very much.
Finally.
Yeah, finally back on the air here in Washington. I've been looking forward to that. I want to tell you I've been working on some great projects here at 9 News, projects that you will see starting next month. And I'll be seeing you right here weeknights at 6 and 11 starting in September. And I'll be back next Saturday for the halftime report when the Redskins take on the Miami Dolphins. Enjoy the rest of the game. Let's head out now to soggy FedEx Field. Redskins, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Maybe they can make this one a win.
Welcome back to FedEx Field. Chick Hernandez here as the Redskins are tied with the Carolina Panthers with a score of 3-3. Not been very exciting in this first half. A couple of field goals by the two kickers, but that's okay. All right, let's get to the highlights or lowlights if you're a Patrick Ramsey fan right now. He's battling for the first starter's job. Can he get it done? He started tonight in place of Mark Brunell, Joe Gibbs, and right off the bat, weather playing a factor here. A wet ball and Ramsey having trouble with the snap from Lenny Friedman a couple of times. And a couple of times Ramsey going up high to Lavernius Coles, and then a late throw for the pick by Dante Wesley. Patrick Ramsey, 4 of 11, 62 yards, 1 INT. If you're keeping score, that is 2 games, 7 for 19, and 80 yards. We'll be right back here with more on the Redskins Broadcast Network.
It's been a sloppy day all day long here in Washington, so we shouldn't be surprised that the Panthers and the Redskins had a bit of a sloppy first half. John Saunders and Jeff Bostic here. 3-3. Carolina getting their field goal in the first quarter. Washington getting their second field goal, or rather their first field goal in the second quarter. But really, you talked with me before the game. At least from the Joe Gibbs side, you're not surprised that he plays it close to the vest.
I was just talking to former Redskin great and Hall of Famer Sonny Jurgensen. He said a little close to the vest. I said, this one's under the vest. Joe is not showing any of his offense. Very paranoid about revealing anything that they're going to do during the regular season. I think defensively, Greg Williams has got to be thrilled with the way his defense has attacked the line of scrimmage, really limited a very good running attack in the Carolina Panthers. And Danny Smith, the special teams coach, great coverage, some good returns, very crisp football out there. Offensively, you would like to see the flow a little bit more fluid, you know, not dropping fumbles, not dropping snaps, letting passes bounce off your hand. That's what drives coaches crazy. Gibbs is an offensive perfectionist, but he's saving a lot of that formation and movement stuff until the regular season.
Looking at what he's seen thus far, I'd say 5, 6 a.m. night in the tape room. Right now, let's go down to the field to Chick Hernandez.
All right, guys, thank you very much. And, of course, you know, when Champ Bailey left this franchise, 4-time Pro Bowl, a lot of fans said, how could you lose Champ Bailey? But in exchange, they get a guy named Clinton Portis, Vice President of basketball, I did it again, football operations. Vinny Serrato explains how the deal with Denver actually took place.
It was totally something, you know, I think crazy, because Mike called me and says that, you know, if you would, I've given permission for Clinton to go shop himself for, if he can get a 1 and a 2, you know, we would listen to it. And he says, Mike called me and he says, I'll do a deal. I'll give you our 1 for Champ, or I'll give you our 1 and Clinton, you know, for Champ and your 1 and 2. You know, so, I mean, then we discussed it. We watched tape on Clinton and did all our homework and all that, and then we consummated the deal.
Clinton Portis, one of only 3 players in NFL history to rush for over 1,500 yards in his first 2 seasons in the National Football League. Let's head back upstairs to John and Bosco.
Thanks a lot, Chick, as we take a look at the Lincoln Mercury first half statistics. And, Jeff, there's not really much there that's going to stand out and impress anybody.
We talked about the Hall of Fame game last week. They're not going to send this offensive game plan to the Hall of Fame.
I'm not going to put this one in a time capsule.
Pretty even numbers right there. 146 yards for the Panthers, 112 for the Redskins. Pretty anemic. Time of possession obviously in favor of the Panthers with the 54 yards rushing to 19. We talked about this earlier. They need to come to some type of offensive flow. And sometimes you get in games, and it's that time of year right now where your neck, your shoulders, your back, your quads, everything's sore. You're about 4 or 5 days away from getting past that, and your body's going to be used to all the contact. But right now, your body's miserable, you're tired, and you'd really like to get to a regular season game, but we've got 3 more of these.
Yeah, exactly. Ola Kimron now is in as the kicker, and he kind of squibs this one. Reaches the 10-yard line where Baker picks it up and then just slips as he tried to cut back to the right. Chris Weinke is going to come in at quarterback, and we mentioned that Delhomme was 3rd on the depth chart when the Redskins played the Panthers last year during the preseason. Of course, he ended up being the starting quarterback. Rodney Peete was the starting quarterback the year before that. And the year before that, Chris Weinke was the starting quarterback. So now Weinke trying to work his way back up from number 3 on the depth chart. And the pitch goes to Smart
He's immediately hauled down.
Tackle by Devin Lemons. Good upfield penetration. I'll tell you, guys, that's really stood out tonight in the limited time he's been in the game. 94, Ron Warner. Undersized defensive end, 6'3", 270 out of Kansas. Good job of getting upfield, creating that penetration.
Boinky again, this time looking to pass, gets rid of it quickly. Ball bobbled again and not brought down as Colbert had it in his mitts. And then it just bounced around as Brown was there on the protection.
Seeing both the Carolina Panthers and the Redskins bring in a lot of reserves. This is when guys make football teams. Guy you're looking at right there, Big Joe Salavea. He won't have any problem making this football team. And it's all about connections. Greg Williams, defensive coordinator when he was in Tennessee.
Boinky trying to get it all back. Now he tries to run out of the pocket. He's quickly hauled down. Barely getting past the line of scrimmage before Warner gets him again. That's the guy you were just talking about.
And this is what happens. If you keep making plays, coaches have to notice you. They have to see you. And that's when they start taking a closer look at you.
Got to get that roster down to 53.
At 270 pounds, you need to do something to open people's eyes. You just don't see defensive ends at that weight anymore.
Gary Scott is back at his own 30, waiting for Sauerbrun's kick. It's a good foot underneath it. Picked up at the 30, moved to his right. Now going back behind the 30 and hauled down right at the 30-yard line.
What a hit by Rock Cartwright. Casey Moore of the Carolina Panthers probably won't be getting a Christmas card by Rock. Hello.
41-yard kick. No. Back here at FedEx Field, a quarterback comparison between the Redskins' Patrick Ramsey and Mark Brunell. And neither one of them exactly tearing things up, although they aren't on the other side of the line either.
They're not making Gibbs' decision as to who to start, and this will go down to the last preseason game. And we said it earlier, don't think that money or what Mark Brunell signed for is going to be an enticing thing on Gibbs. He doesn't care how much money you make.
Sultan McCullough took the handoff that time from Brunell. And got it back to the line of scrimmage.
Check out the right side of the offensive line. One kid is a rookie. The other one in his 19th year.
How do you play 19 years as an offensive lineman in the National Football League? And again, the handoff goes to McCullough, and again, it goes nowhere. When you talk about 318 pounds on Ray Brown.
Ray Brown is about 340 pounds.
340 now.
That 318 was a press release. I stood beside Ray yesterday. He is not 318. He confirmed 340, which probably means 350.
Brunell with the toss. Nearly picked off. Didn't go anywhere near an intended receiver, and so again the Redskins will have to come back out and punt.
Once again, the Redskin offensive line does a great job of protecting their quarterback. Just can't seem to get the running and the passing to. Used to be a little Southern thing when you were trying to plow G in and hauling, you know, getting the horse to turn with it. It's just not working enough.
It's not. Poteet back to field it. Takes off to his right, but is quickly ripped down by Rock Cartwright, who's doing a little bit of everything out there today. 46-yard punt and just a 1-yard return. Plays like these that get you on the roster.
You make the team with special teams.
How'd you like to live large like a Redskin? Well, just go to redskins.com and tell us where to reach you on game day. If you're watching the Redskins, you could win a trip for you and 9 friends to watch the Skins take on the Chicago Bears. October 17th, courtesy of Independence Air. So go to redskins.com and sign up and watch and win.
I'll be in my home theater. Okay.
I don't think you're eligible. I could be wrong. We'll look up the rules. Hand off to Smart. He's still not down.
Regardless to what Smart does for the rest of his career, he will always be known by XFL. He hate me.
Oh, that's right. He hate me.
Where does that come from?
Well, he invented it saying that essentially the world was against him and the progress that he was trying to make in life, and that he wanted to be reminded of that. So he hate me, and he would overcome that.
Thank God that league went bust.
They ought to let him use it here too. Wanky with the toss. Smart busts through a couple of tackles before he's, well, still inbounds. Mitchell with the stop.
If there's one area that I would be concerned with this Redskin defense is, do you have enough quality defensive linemen? You're typically going to need 8, maybe 9. And when you look around there, not a lot of those guys that are on the field right now scare anybody.
Third down conversions. You're not going to impress anyone. Wanky hands it off. There's a flag.
Melvin Tootin, the right tackle for Carolina, moved early. Once
73
again, you
offense.
only mention the linemen when they mess up.
Third down.
Now, how often did you get mentioned?
I was fortunate because it was really hard for a center.
I was going to say you had the ball, so you ought to know when it was supposed to be snapped.
Right there, starting earlier. But I snapped it early a couple times. And that really made your teammates real happy because defenses react on the ball.
Right.
Well, if they're not ready to go, they're kind of stool pigeons. And the quarterback's not ready to take the snap.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Sit on your own end of the bench. Wanky just takes a couple of steps back.
What have they got, a scrum going on there?
I'm telling you. Chris Wanky almost looked like he was confused as to what he wanted to do. He took a couple of steps back, not back far enough to even pass the ball, and quickly the Redskins converged.
Redskins got a great push up front, but Wanky kind of panics in the pocket. Is he the oldest fourth-year veteran in the league? 32 years old.
Oh, yeah. All those years playing baseball. Sauerbrunn is going to punt. And Gary Scott back again to receive it. And again, he'll get it at the 29-yard line. And try and break free, but nothing doing. We get a flag, maybe a late hit. Flag comes after the play. 45 yards on the punt. Nothing on the return.
There's no penalty. It was not an illegal block in the back. No penalty.
Why do they say no penalty? Because Tom Hill already threw his flag, right? And he was the one waving it off.
It's preseason for the officials, too.
He had a spasm.
3-3. Back to FedEx in a moment.
Next field, Chick Hernandez here, and that man, Mark Wilson, the rookie, 5th-round pick out of the University of California. 48 consecutive starts, a school record. Here's what's interesting. At 6'6", 295, the veteran O-lineman took him and fellow rookie Jim Molinaro and said, guys, you got 2 choices. You can be taped to the goalpost or you can get your head shaved. Mark Wilson decided to get his head shaved. He'd been growing the hair for 2 years. It was a painful departure. Back to the booth.
Well, I got to believe I'm taking tape to the goalpost. Do they do anything to you while you're taped? Brunell gets hit from behind. That'll be incomplete.
A little bit surprising that Gibbs would leave Brunell in the game with their backup offensive line, particularly with one thing. You see the young man that Chick was just talking about, Mr. Wilson, with his new haircut, playing left tackle. Right here. Right there at left tackle. Molinaro playing right tackle. The problem, Joe Bugle's doing a little experiment. He's flip-flopping them. He wants to see which one of those kids can play left tackle better. And then they'll have a decision on who the third tackle will be during the regular season.
Well, and it makes a huge difference because the two guys that are vying for the starting quarterback position, one's a lefty and one's a righty. So the unprotected side or the blind side is opposite.
Maybe they could flip-flop Samuels back and forth. What do you think? You think that would be a key?
Just keep going. It'll depend on who's in there. Cooley.
Molinaro's not in there. It's Daryl Terrell right now playing right tackle. A little bit out of position. He is normally a guard.
Brunell still calling the signals in the third quarter. Kind of rolls out to his right. Toss is complete to McCants. And there's a flag.
They're looking at Chris Cooley.
Offensive pass interference, 47 at the 10-yard penalty.
And that's who it's on.
Still third down.
Offensive pass interference. Let's see if he uses his hands. That's a horrendous call.
I was going to say
that is a horrendous call.
The contact was made by the defender first.
Let's get that replay one more time. You're going to see a great job of acting by a defensive back, trying to hold Cooley's jersey. Watch right here. Watch when he grabs his jersey. Right there. Steps on his foot. Right there is what causes it. Looks like he's pushing off. He actually stepped on his foot.
So Brunell back. Now with third down and fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Carolina. No, it is recovered by Washington Redskins. Raymer got underneath.
Moorhead gets around Matt Wilson. I guarantee you he is getting an earful full right now from Joe Bugle.
And see, Jordan has this ball. Watch, Jordan will have the ball, and when he gets hit, somebody just steals it from him.
It's amazing what happens in those pile-ups. When we get off the air tonight, I'll tell you what I did in St. Louis one year, okay?
You can't tell it on the air?
No.
Poteet with it. Season opening. Breaks across the 50. Down towards the 40 at about the 41-yard line. We still have a 3-3 game here in the third quarter. Field goals, the rule of the day. Back to FedEx in a moment.
And the rookie defensive back out of Florida State, Rufus Brown, being carted off the field with a right thigh bruise. And Brosco, you mentioned it. They call him Twitch. He's got the fastest fast twitch muscles on the squad. Back to you.
You would think the guys could be more creative than to come up with Twitch, wouldn't you?
Imagining, depending on how many years.
Do you know how many guys actually have nicknames, though? Everybody in the league.
Everybody. I think every athlete in every sport has a nickname.
Joe Jacoby's nickname. Big Jake. Russ Grimm. Porky.
Wide open. And a touchdown. Colbert was clearly wide open on the 42-yard pass from Chris Wenke.
Here's what's happening when you play reserve people that haven't been together. Blown coverage. Linebacker thinks he's got zone. Safety thinks he's got man. It's bad when you're a receiver. If you're trying to stop these, if you can run 4 or 5 yards and you never see another opposing jersey.
You wait, when am I going to get hit? I'm not so sure he didn't step out of bounds there. We can take another look at that. Extra point is up. Casey makes it good, and our first touchdown of the game, and a 10-3 lead for the Carolina Panthers midway through quarter number 3. Jeff, here's another look at the blown coverage.
Watch the middle of your screen. This was a blown coverage. I'll show you why. Right there. Whoa. Run it back a little bit, folks. Just right there. Two safeties running after one wide receiver leaves one person open. I don't want to name the guilty party. So I'm just going to say a number. How about 22?
There you go. Use your own program. Scott and Simon are back deep. The kickoff is short. And fielded by Simon. Season opening. He's got the punter, or rather the kicker, to beat. And Casey gets over and pushes him out of bounds.
That's another thing that'll get the attention of a football coach. A guy that can return kicks and punts. 38-yard return. Great blocking in the wedge. One thing that will happen to Simon when he gets to the sideline and he gets his breath, his teammates are going to be ragging him about letting a kicker run him out of bounds. Sauerbrunn shows a little burst there, doesn't he?
Brunel has some time across the middle. Caught by Sultan McCullough.
You might ask yourself, why is Simons returning kicks? Where's Mr. Chad Morton? It's kind of strange. He's not in uniform for the game, but he warmed up before the game.
He was out on the field when it was pouring rain.
Maybe he only likes playing in the rain.
Brunel again wants to go deep. And overthrows Gary Scott. Scott had his man beat, but Brunel was just a little deep with that ball.
Gary Scott's a guy that's been getting the coach's eyes. Had a big game last week. Little go route. This is what we call the post. If the throw's on the mark, this is a touchdown.
Yep. Brunel's numbers not impressive. Patrick Ramsey had similar type numbers. Third down. And about 5.5 yards to go, and the ball bounces off the receiver and is picked off by Short.
That's really not one you can blame on the quarterback. Brunel trying to fire it in there, bounces up in the air. Short is the right guy at the right place. And in defense for the Redskins quarterbacks, these are the most generic game plans, watered down vanilla offensive schemes. Ball bounces up into the air. Not a whole lot of quarterback can do about that.
Wanky wants to get rid of it quickly and does, but comes up a little bit short with it. What would Coach Gibbs be doing if he's showing vanilla game plans during the actual games? Is he teaching the regular season game plan during the rest of the week?
He is going over the Tampa game plan, New York Giant game, and he used to call them different numbers. This is the orange game plan. This is the blue game plan. This would be the green game plan. Well, we knew it was orange was going to be Tampa. Philadelphia was green. The blue was going to be the Cowboys. The silver, he had codes for them all. They're working on game plans right now at training camp.
Smart run out of bounds by Ohalete. Ifeanyi Ohalete, if you want to go with the entire pronunciation.
The defensive staff's going to have some decisions when it comes cut dates. They've got about 4 or 5 good defensive safeties. Ohalete, Andre Lott they like. You know, Matt Bowen, Obviously, Sean Taylor's going to make your football team. Todd France had an interception earlier tonight.
Wanky was in all kinds of trouble, and he tossed it over towards one of his offensive linemen. It was open, but he's down on the ground, and I don't believe eligible. And that's why we have a flag that is thrown.
I did one of those things one year. Caught a pass, but it wasn't thrown at me. You know, you're pass protecting.
Right.
The ball is deflected.
Okay, now.
So now you look up in the air, right?
Yep.
It drops down in your hand. You know, we saw that interception opportunity by Bowen earlier.
Right.
I caught it. I realized right then, in that split second, why I didn't want to be a running back or a wide receiver. That little leather pigskin draws heat. I think I lost 4 yards.
All of a sudden, everybody wants a piece of Mr. Boston. Sauerbrunn is back to pass. Or back to kick, rather. Scott, again, he's seen a lot of time fielding punts and kicks. Is brought down at the 40-yard line. LeVar Arrington yelling out some support. Don't forget, next Saturday, it's preseason game number 3 on the Redskins broadcast network against the Miami Dolphins. No Ricky Williams. That'll be one thing less they have to worry about. And no David Boston, who is injured. You got to figure they're going to go out and find another receiver.
And next year, probably no Dave Wanstead.
Boy, did he lose all that. Kozlowski with it. And it's very close to a first down.
Kozlowski was a free agent that was signed last year. He's with Atlanta. He's kind of got that big tight end rumbling. Hard to bring down. I saw this guy yesterday in the shorts and t-shirts. This guy's put together.
7 years with Atlanta, 3 with the Giants. Rock Cartwright. Let's check in with Chick Hernandez.
All right, guys, we talked about Mark Wilson getting his head shaved. Well, he's got other problems now. 2 series in, broken nose. He's on the bench right now getting iced up, but not a good night for the young rookie out of California.
No, it isn't.
Wonder if Bugle's the one that broke his nose when he came off the field.
I was going to say he's got a mask on while he's on the field. Maybe coach is a little bit upset. Brunell with a quick toss before he's on his back.
I think this is one of the things that have really changed in football since Gibbs were here 12 years ago. Defense is really getting in your face. I mean, really bringing the blitzes.
There's a flag in the backfield.
Intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding.
This is overloading the weak side. They don't have enough blockers to block 3 people. I don't know if that's intentional grounding or not, though.
Well, there wasn't a receiver in the area. He was still in the pocket.
Vinny Churchu, the middle linebacker for Carolina, former fullback at Clemson, transfers to Boston College, converted linebacker, and now in the pros.
That's quite a route traveled.
Somehow you don't bring up Boston College and Clemson in the same time.
No, not usually. Brunell going deep. Got his man. McCants. Touchdown. $61 yards. The big strike. And the Redskins have their first touchdown of the game.
Mark Brunell showing off his arm. McCants being the glad recipient of this pass. This pass is right on the money. I'm going to bet that's Mr. Brunell's last pass tonight.
I'd bet right along with you. Kimron in for the extra point. Buries it through. And we've got a 10-10 tie.
You see Mr. McCants coming right into your living room. Perfect pass. McCants never had to come out of stride. And yep, you got to show off a little bit. You know, what happened to the Barry Sanders that throw the ball to the official, the John Riggins, and just go merrily about your business?
David Wesley beating on that play. Chick Hernandez.
You see Darnarian McCants there with a 61-yard touchdown. We're talking about a guy, a 5th-round draft pick in 2001, 6'3", 214 out of Delaware State. Came from Gambrills, Maryland. Last year, 27 catches, 360 yards. Had, by the way, a team-tying 6 touchdowns, and he led the team for a non-kicker in points with 40. 6 touchdowns and two-pointers. As you saw, he's got great hands. Boy, does he ever. He's also a very artistic young man. He's an artist. In fact, his fellow cornerback teammate, Fred Smoot, hired him to do a work of art for his house. Well, he did one thing, but it seems that Darnarian had too much going on and didn't have time to finish it. So Fred Smoot actually fired Darnarian McCants and had somebody else get the artwork done in his house. But you saw the one piece by the young man. Guys?
I'll tell you, I collect African-American art. So Darnarian McCants, if he has any artwork for sale, ought to get a hold of me before I'm here for my next game against the Falcons. Kimron again with the squib. And Gaines gets it out to the 33-yard line.
Wonder if McCants got a deposit on his artwork from Smoot.
And if he had to return it. That's kind of tough to come into the locker room if you owe the guys some money.
I'd say he probably didn't. Mr. Hasselback's getting warmed up in the bullpen right now.
Hasselback had a very good game at the Hall of Fame game against the Denver Broncos. Led the game-winning drive. Wenke, little pump fake, and well, the flag comes late. I thought the receiver had just slipped, but the officials say there was contact there.
Cornerback is Ralph Brown.
Illegal contact.
That's a bad call.
22 defense. 5-yard penalty.
That's
Automatic
that
first down.
5-yard rule. You're not supposed to even lay a hand on him.
But if you're running, aren't the cornerbacks and safeties and linebackers entitled to their share of the field? Do they have to move to get out of the way?
Well, that's a great point. What if a wide receiver runs right at you?
Run in. What happens if they run into you?
Yeah. Now that's a great point to see how the officials will handle that. Wenke again with a quick release. The ball was low and not cut. Intended for Walter Young. He had his mitts on it but couldn't hold on.
I was visiting some of the veteran players yesterday at Redskin Park that play on offense.
Illegal formation offense. Number 83 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I was blown away by one thing. I was asking John Jansen, I said, how simple is your game plan last week in the Hall of Fame game? He said, at least we had one, which kind of miffed me. And I said, what do you mean? He said, the 2 years that Spurrier was here, we never had a game plan at all for preseason or regular season games. That is numbing in my mind.
It's hard to imagine from a guy who has been as successful as he has been at the college level. Some great tackling again by the Redskins as Walter Young is brought down. I mean, not just winning at Florida.
He won at Duke. He won at Duke. And that may be the Steve Spurrier arrogance. You know, our people are better than yours. But I'm going to tell you, if you go to war, right? You create a plan of attack. Now, when you're doing football, you're finding strengths and weaknesses. If there's a great corner like a Deion Sanders and the other guy's not as good, are you going to throw at Deion all day long?
I wouldn't think so. Wenke. Oh, and he gets hit from behind. Lemons gets in there and just hits Wenke right in the numbers. Never saw him coming.
Coming off the edge, linebacker hooked up man-to-man with a running back. Number 32, Rod Smart. He hate me. I bet Wenke hates him too.
That's who that he is right now. Carolina just 1 and 11 on third down conversions.
I'm going to be surprised if this Redskin organization in the next 2 or 3 weeks really doesn't comb the waiver wires to try and find some added depth on their defensive line. Because when you look at those guys that are out on the field right now, and certainly they're competing and vying for a job, but how realistic is any of these guys making the football team? And that's a hard reality. You know, as a player, I could see it after several years that I've been in the league. There are guys that come up and they realize they can't play at this level. They can't play, and they know it, but they're going to stay around until, you know, the man with the big axe comes in and asks for your playbook.
Yeah, I was going to say, and stops signing a paycheck. Wenke again. 3rd and 11. Rolls out to his right.
Got him.
Wide open. Wenke has done it again. And again to Colbert. 68 yards. Wenke's gone for the big strike twice. And twice he's connected.
This is inexcusable as a Redskin defender. 3rd down and 11. You certainly got to keep the receiver in front of you. Looked like a little confusion between the safety and the corner, and this is what happens when guys have not played together for a long period of time. Looks like a zone. Uh-oh. Olete. Got to have the deep third.
Well, after the corner let him go by, safety was primed to pick him up, but did not. Casey knocks the extra point through, and the Panthers have the lead again at 17-10.
Watch Olete. The way your cornerback's sitting down, it tells me it's zone. Stop it right there, right there. Sitting down tells me that they've got a good zone defense. Olete's got the deep third. That's the hardest pass in football to complete, when your guy is wide open, and probably the hardest to catch.
Because you're thinking, here it comes, here it comes.
It's like I'm too wide open.
Well, Wenke's now hooked up with Colbert for a touchdown of 42 yards and 68 yards. And Carolina back on top.
Do you think Wenke will be the starter before the first game?
Well, based on what we've seen tonight.
Isn't it amazing how much better a quarterback does as we get the 2nd and 3rd teamers? Yeah. You're looking at Greg Williams. I'll guarantee you he is hot right now. I love his attitude. If it's on his tongue, it's out of his mouth.
Sauerbrunn with the kickoff.
They're going to have some tough decisions. We talked about the safety position. They're going to have a tough decision determining which 5 or 6 linebackers to keep. This is a good linebacking core.
Scott and Simon are deep for the ball, and Simon comes up behind the wedge. Suddenly no place to go, but busts through a tackle and across to the 38-yard line. Shaw comes up with a stop.
Sometimes as a returner, you can get impatient and try and find the hole. He kind of hunts and pecks. Right there, he doesn't see it. His wall's not out of his way, so I think I'll cut a little bit here. Well, let's go back inside. And he finds that extra 8 or 10 yards.
Tim Hasselback is now in a quarterback for the Redskins. Again, he had a very good game in the Hall of Fame game. drops that underneath, but the ball gets dropped by Sultan McCullough.
Why do certain quarterbacks, after every snap, unbutton their chin strap? Look right here. Chin strap's unbuttoned. Another guy that does it, Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Every plays. Can you imagine? He probably doesn't even know that he does it.
It's worked out pretty well for Brett Favre.
Yeah, I think he's got Hall of Fame written all over him. First ballot.
Never misses a game. He's got a Super Bowl ring. Taking the Packers to 2 Super Bowls. Hasselbeck again. This time to Cooley, and Cooley is hauled down, but not before he gains a first down, 11 yards.
We talked about Hasselbeck earlier. 7 for 10 at the Hall of Fame game, including this touchdown. Probably more impressive was the way he took his team down in the 2-minute drill, led to this field goal. Great pass right there. You can't get rid of this guy. This is your third quarterback.
Hasselbeck steps up in the pocket. Sees an opening, wants to run, tucks it away. Baxter is down, holding the back of his knee on the other side of the field. 12-year veteran. Another one of those no contact injuries.
It's either going to be a hamstring or it looks like he hyperflexed his knee.
But generally when you hyperflex, you don't hold the back. There's some tendons back in there. Those are the ones where you start to wonder if you're snake bit. Just running down the field.
A la John Jansen,
yeah,
right?
There's nobody near you. Catch your cleat in the turf.
Former Cowboy that we used to compete against, Charlie Waters. Just running downfield and blows out his knee. Unexplainable. This is not a good place to be if you're a player. I was kind of in the John Jansen mode my first 5 years. I thought injuries happened to everybody else. October 21st, 1984. Severe knee operation. Watch his leg buckle right there.
Right there, you're right. Hyperextended. That's what it looks like.
But what causes that? I don't know. But I'm laying on the field in St. Louis trying to get off. And when the orthopedic guy comes out and tests your knee to the side, when you see him take the bottom of your leg and go about 25, 30 degrees, I told Dr. Stan Levine, I said, Doc, I'm going to have to lay down.
Will he give you a bullet?
They gave me I learned something. Your body has a chemical, endorphins.
Yes.
So when you go into some kind of shock, after about 45 seconds, I could have talked to you like we are right now.
I remember the first time I dislocated my shoulder, my left one of 9 dislocations I've had on both shoulders. I saw colors and animals, all kinds of things.
You saw them or said them?
I definitely said them, but I swear to God, I saw them too.
How do you like these straight fingers?
Yeah, I was going to say.
What do you think? Rand McNally or?
I think that you're not ever going to play the piano.
Oh, gosh. You ought to see me typing on a computer. Can you say, these fingers don't even fit on the keys. I need to get one of those keyboards that's about this big, right?
You get 2 letters with every punch.
Look at these. This is straight, folks.
What's this one here, though? That one.
That one I broke. And it'll straighten out, but it won't stay straight.
And it's still got a knot on the top of it.
Well, the doctor told me he could fix it, but it would require breaking it again and running a screw down this far. I said, no, we'll just leave it ugly.
Helps your golf swing.
Oh, yeah.
Hasselbeck.
Played pretty good this morning.
Hands it off to McCullough. So the final Final hole.
37 on the front. 37 on the front. I bet you I shot 43 or 4 on the back.
Oh, well.
You never had those days you can't put two things together. And that's the way the Redskin offense has been. You know, you'll make one great pass and then you drop 2.
Well, that's a perfect description. There's been plenty of that today. Hasselbeck, though, has him in position. A chance to tie this game. 2nd down. He's got time. Tosses this one. And McCants was the intended receiver. The fans looking for a push in the back. I'm not sure Hasselbeck couldn't have picked up 6 or 7 yards just by running that thing.
Sad but true, the Washington Redskin offense has generated 39 yards rushing, 15 of it by Mr. Hasselbeck's scramble.
That's not going to get it done for Joe Gibbs.
Hasselbeck has got those little special elements that you can't coach. He's a gamer.
3rd down. And Hasselbeck. Oh, quickly. The pocket collapses. And Hasselbeck is brought down in a hurry. A sea of blue all around him. Jordan Karstens with the tackle.
It was one of those things. They had a team meeting back at the quarterback. Mr. Hasselbeck was the meat.
As a result, they're now out of field goal range. And so Stempke is back into punt. Poteet back waiting for it. He'll let it go over his head. Takes a Redskin bounce and is downed at the goal line.
His foot went across the white line. That's what they're going to say.
They had it called as down at the goal line, and then the change. You saw the officials come in from both sides.
Watch Mr. Douglas and see if his foot doesn't cross the white. There it is. You saw his left foot. When it crosses the line, you're in the end zone.
The Redskins are down 17-10 as we head to the 4th quarter. Couple of big strikes by Wenke, the difference. Welcome back once again to FedEx Field, where Carolina has a 17-10 lead. Chris Wenke, the 3rd quarterback for Carolina, came in and tossed a couple of deep touchdown passes.
You're seeing my old offensive line coach, Joe Bugle. Don't you love how he renamed their offensive line the Dirtbags?
The Dirtbags? You couldn't... Hogs 2?
Yeah, he told me, he says, we can't go there. He said you guys were just too good. I couldn't do that to you. Look at our 3rd quarter stats. That time of possession thing is still a little askew if you're a Redskin fan. More penalties, and this is the one that is glaring. 39 yards rushing by the Redskin attack. Not acceptable. This is the other thing that will burn Gibbs up. 7 penalties. The biggest one right there. 2 turnovers. Talked about the keys to the game. Stop the run early. Better quarterback play. We haven't seen that yet. But also win the turnover battle.
Wenke with the handoff to Harris. For a short gain. We really haven't seen much of a ground game from either team.
Carolina is probably much like the Washington Redskins. They don't want to show a lot of stuff. But one thing you've got to understand about Carolina, after going to the Super Bowl, they almost totally rebuilt their offensive line.
Yes.
The only person in the same position was their starting center, Jeff Mitchell. Gross goes from right tackle to left tackle. The other 3 are all new.
3rd and 5 for Wenke. McGuinn a little quick with the release, intended for Moore. Moore never got turned around to get it, so Carolina will have to punt the ball. Sauerbrunn will be the punter. Gary Scott back at his 30-yard line to receive it. This is Sauerbrunn's 8th punt of the game. And he gets a lot underneath this one. Chased back to the 20 almost. Weaving his way and does not make it back to the 30-yard line. Scott comes up at about the 28. Hankton comes up with the tackle. 54-yard punt and an 8-yard return. Washington will go to work trailing by 7. With the added seats, this place holds about 92,000 people. So when you get ready for your tailgating hunger, go to Giant. Burgers, hot dogs, snacks, drinks, and much more. Everything you'll need, and don't forget your bonus cards. So stop by your tailgating headquarters now. You've got a Giant on your side.
Dan Snyder has done a tremendous job every year doing something different to this stadium. This year was adding 5,000 more seats.
This stadium is beautiful. Hasselback connects across to Gary Scott.
This stadium is very fan friendly. You know, your 2 jumbotrons and umpteen thousand restaurants, and they've got a new Hooters downstairs. We got to check that out.
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. That's the only reason you're going to go.
I can't see any other reason. Hasselback picks up the first down. Drops back. There's plenty of protection. Wants to go deep.
Was that not a hand on the back?
I'm telling you, McCants was the intended receiver.
That's the only thing you can ask as a player. If I can see it from up here, watch the hands. That's contact.
I'd say so.
And the officials are standing right there. The only thing you want as a player, let the officials be consistent. Call it the same way every time, and then we won't have to kind of barter on what side of the fence are we on.
Which doesn't seem to happen in any sport for whatever reason. I guess it's the human factor. Hasselback steps up in the pocket, out of a tackle, going deep. Nobody back there.
How many defensive backs have we seen drop easy interceptions tonight?
Hampton was the only one anywhere near that football, and he could have hauled that thing in like a wide receiver.
Joe Bugle's project, Mr. Molinaro, the left tackle, got beat there, putting pressure on your quarterback. We've said this before. This is why defensive backs are defensive backs. They can't catch the ball.
Especially going away from it.
They can't catch it if it's easy.
We've seen a couple drop that you're right. Right in the breadbasket. Hasselback again. That ball was tipped. And then there's a flag.
And the guilty party always gets up and he's got his hands up.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I bet it's Marcus Floyd, 36. Illegal contact.
Illegal contact. 39 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Damian Richardson. You have to like what you see in Hasselback.
He's been the most impressive quarterback I've seen for Washington in the 2 preseason games.
That's what they talked about, not being able to bump the receiver in that outside of that 5-yard zone. Chris Cooley was getting bumped downfield. It's about being consistent. You're calling it.
First and 10. Hand off to Cartwright. He'll pick up about 3 yards. Make that 4 yards and a 2nd and 6. The ball inside of Carolina territory. Back again, this time hands it off, and again to Rock Cartwright, who sees an opening and just busts his way down to the 14-yard line. 34 yards from Rock Cartwright.
Here's your old counterplay, folks.
Going one way, sealing down. Robert Roy, the tight end, does a tremendous job collapsing the left side of the Carolina defensive line. Cartwright's made some plays on special teams. This is the biggest run they've had all night long.
He's had a terrific game. He had one drop pass that was right in his midst, but everything else he's done pretty much right. 7 carries, 46 yards. Hasselbeck wants a timeout. Doesn't like the defensive formation he saw out there. The chance to go in for a touchdown and tie this thing at 17 apiece. We've got 11:03 to go in quarter number 4 from here at FedEx Field. 3 left in the fourth quarter. Carolina has a 17-10 lead, but the Redskins have the ball inside the 15-yard line.
You're looking at a former teammate of mine, Ernest Bonner. I'm going to tell you something. You wanted 53 of him on your team. He had a great career, and it's defined by what? One fumble against the daunting Denver Broncos.
What a career. And it looks like he could still strap it on and play right now.
I'm going to tell you what, he was tough as nails.
Oh, how about that big run by Sultan McCullough? Busting it through for a touchdown, 14 yards. Suddenly the Skins get their running game going.
Key block by number 52, Corey Raymer. Right there. See him creating the hole. Right there, number 52. Hooking the offset nose, and look at that backside seal. That's the thing we were talking about, getting your seal blocks.
Cameron in for the tie. He just snuck that one in there. Last 2 plays, running plays. Cartwright goes 34 yards. McCullough goes 14 for the touchdown as they get the ground game going. For the FedEx ground Redskins play of the game, and appropriately enough, it is on the ground.
Yeah, no doubt about it. McCullough, the beneficiary of some very good blocking, and the emphasis there is FedEx ground. Ernest Bonner, his coach, got a little bit excited after that play. Tying this game up with 10:58 to go. I'm telling you, Hasselbeck has something about him that I don't know what it is. It's one of those intangibles.
Baker fields a kick, sees an opening, cuts back, and there's flags all over the place. It was a heck of a run back, but we may find out the reason it was a heck of a run back was somebody gave a little illegal help.
Holding 57 of the return team during the run back. That's a 10-yard penalty.
Holding call goes against Carolina. 10:53 to go. We've got a 17-17 game here in the NFL preseason.
Back here at FedEx Field, Chick Hernandez, the Redskins and Panthers tied up at 17 apiece. If you thought Joe Bugle was excited about coming back with Joe Gibbs, no doubt about it. Joe Gibbs called him and said, hey, do you want to go back? He goes, I got my Redskin jacket in the closet. But this summer, he had even a bigger thrill. He used to coach for the Oakland Raiders. He got a call from the owner himself, Al Davis, who said, come on out to Vegas. I'm having a party for my 75th birthday. He got to see Celine Dion, Steve Lawrence, and Edie Gourmet, and he was loving it. Guys?
I mean, that's quite a threesome there. And the flag's going to come. Gaines knocked to the turf by Ohalete.
Easy call for the officials.
Pass interference, 30 defense.
It's once again that double move. We saw Smoot get bit on it earlier. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know that Bugle really likes Al Davis that much. Remember, Al Davis fired him.
Yes.
Okay? But one thing Joe is, he's smart. And if it's free, it's for me. That's his motto. If it's free, it's for me.
Well, Celine Dion, anytime you get a chance to see the great Canadian songstress.
Well, how about Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet? I mean, I remember them as kids.
They're still going. McGreedy comes up with that reception.
Wonder if Al Davis and Norv Turner are gonna. That's kind of a weird combo, and I'm saying that because we were all here during the Norv era, and it was the last time this team was in the playoffs. The only time since Gibbs has retired.
Since Gibbs is gone. 1 out of 12 years. Wenke rolls to his right, releases it quickly, but that one was trapped. Hayes thought he had it, but that ball was trapped, or at least he tried to pretend he had it.
These players and coaches and cheerleaders and fans got lucky with the night's weather. The forecast that we got earlier, it's actually like fall.
It's
what is it, 75 degrees?
And what we saw this afternoon, from the time I got here to the stadium at 2:30, right up until around 7:30, it just poured. Third down. Skins looking for a stop. Wenke has plenty of time. Throws it out, but he's not going to get the first down. Moore comes up with the catch. But Campbell is over there to grab him right away.
Campbell's a guy that is really getting the coach's eye. Yesterday, Greg Williams said, watch number 50. He makes a lot of football plays. Does a good job on special teams always. This is what you like about a guy. Open field tackling and preventing him from pushing you. Right there. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're going backward. Not a big guy either.
The punt. Going to chase Scott over to his right and had a seam for a moment. Breaks it out to the 30.
This is Mr. Campbell on the punt return. Let's see if he gets a block. Oh, Rasmussen, you've got to have better vision than that. We used to say, keep your head. I used to snap for punts, and obviously, if you snap for punts, you had to cover them.
Right.
Keep your head on a swivel. And this is about how fast you could look to find the ball. It was quick. People are coming from every direction.
Hasselback tosses it out to his left. Stevens has it.
They've got some decisions at tight end. You know, Cooley is their third-round pick. Obviously, Robert Royals from a few years ago has had a problem staying healthy. Rasby really falls into this category as the grizzled veteran that Gibbs likes. And then you got Kozlowski and Mike Sellers is a fullback / H-back. A lot of options.
Hasselback has done a terrific job since he's come in.
Maybe they're running a different offense for him.
Got a man open. Oh, flag comes on that play.
I know what this call is going to be, and I don't agree with it.
It looked like the ball arrived at the same time as Richardson and Dillard.
They're going to call a personal foul. Watch his head. I just don't know
personal
how.
Ball, 39
how do you
defense,
prevent that?
Unnecessary roughness, 15 yards.
This is, you know, they say basketball is a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. John Fox is not real thrilled about that call either.
I don't think there was much there, really.
If you don't see the coaches on your sideline complaining and you don't see the players complaining, typically it's not a foul.
Now it puts the ball inside the 45-yard line. Hasselback going to pass again. Dumps this one off across the middle to Cartwright. Rock Cartwright is doing a lot of things right.
He needs to do a lot of things right because Gibbs probably hasn't forgot fumbling the ball last week in the Hall of Fame game.
Good point.
You need to do about 6 things right because he is a stickler on people fumbling the ball. If you do it again, you won't be playing.
Hasselback goes to the sidelines. Great job by McCants to stay in bounds.
I wonder who's going to be the third receiver here. Is it going to be Thrash? Is it going to be McCants? 17-yard gain on this play. You know, going into camp, I'm thinking, you know, McCants has established himself here for the last few years, and he's going to be their third guy. And then they bring Thrash back, and it looks like really Thrash is doing more in practice. It's a great option to have.
McCants is having a heck of a fourth quarter here. As is Hasselbeck. Another extended drive, and someone moved early. And that's going to send the Redskins back.
False start. 79 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first.
Joe Bugle, when you guys would go offside on occasion.
We used to call it the 5-second rule. For 5 seconds, he could call you anything, okay? And would. I tell you what, this guy is the best line coach the league has ever seen. I played for him for 9 years. I played for Jim Hannafin for 5. Hanny is the other guy that is very well regarded. Joe Bugle is a better offensive line coach than Jim Hannafin. And I've played for 2 of the best.
That's saying something.
The other guy that is very well renowned is currently in Atlanta, Alex Gibbs. But he took a bunch of young kids. He took Grim Jacoby as rookies. Mark May as a rookie. Myself going into my second year. Never started a game in the NFL. And George Stark, who was about a 7 or 8 year veteran, gave us a nickname, the Hogs. We start the season 0-5. And about a year and a half later, we won our first Super Bowl.
Hasselbeck's pass is incomplete. And probably the first time in the history of the National Football League where an offensive line was the most popular players on the team. The most celebrated, the most popular players on the team. Sure, you had other great players. Art Monk, and you think of the quarterbacks that you had.
We had the posse and the fun bunch.
Yeah,
and
you had all of that stuff, Darryl Green. But it was the Hogs that identified that team.
And I think if you look around, hopefully what the Hogs did was multiple. Not only did we get recognition, but offensive line play throughout all of football. College football, pro football, high school football. People realize the importance about dominating the line of scrimmage.
Sultan McCullough showing a burst of speed there. He was hit about 1 yard across the line of scrimmage and busted off of that. And then watch the quickness.
Look at the size of that hole. Left guard, I love this name, Pita Elisaro. Got some wild hair, too. It must be the long hair thing going on right now. Some of the rookies got their stuff cut off, but Pita Elisaro.
That's Pita, not Peter. Kimry, field goal is up. And it's good. And the Redskins have the lead. 34 yards on the field goal.
And Cameron is a guy that is not going to make this football team, but he's auditioning for every team in this league right now. There's Buggs, always coaching. Always coaching. He likes this group of offensive linemen. Spoke with him yesterday. He said, you know what? These kids work. He said, they want to get better. And he said, I'm going to tell you, my last 6 or 8 years in football, I've been around some sorry groups. He said, it's good to get back to the kids, and they appreciate the teaching. Told you earlier, Chris Samuel said, Joe Bugle is going to save my career.
Well, that is saying something. And Joe Gibbs has said it, that the key to his success is surrounding himself with the right people, both as coaches and players.
He used to say that every year. He said, guys, the toughest job I have each year are picking the right 53 players. He said, if I do that job, the rest of my coaching's easy. He said, 1 or 2 of you may fool me. He said, but it won't fool the players. He says, y'all will know who the frauds are. And he said, after a couple weeks or a month, you'll make aware to me and the coaching staff who they are, and they'll be gone. He is trying to collect a core group like he had his first time around to lead this football team.
Redskins have their first lead as Baker takes it out near the 30. Well, it's only preseason, but you can still tell how these Washington fans feel about Bill Parcells and his team in Dallas. Dallas is losing, and we get a huge cheer up from the fans. Rod Rutherford is going to come in at quarterback now.
Can you imagine September 27th here at FedEx Field?
Oh, boy.
Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins, Joe Bugle, Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, all the guys back together again.
Rutherford, quick release, and it's completed to McGreedy.
You look at some of the coaches in the NFC East, you're talking about successful. Joe Gibbs, I think the thing that really speaks for him right there, 16-5 in the postseason, unheard of. This guy got a couple Super Bowls. This guy's got a couple Super Bowls. This guy can't get past the NFC Championship game.
He keeps getting there, though.
Yeah, but that's almost as bad as losing the Super Bowl 4 times in a row like Buffalo did. I can't fathom losing 4 Super Bowls in a row.
No.
I remember more about the one we lost than the 3 we won.
Rutherford chased out of the pocket, spins, and is brought down.
I'll tell you a guy that's made his presence known tonight, number 59, Devin Lemons. He's been on the field 3 or 4 different times and really stands out. Good quickness. Every time you go out there, you're auditioning. Everything you're doing is being graded.
Even with under 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, the second preseason game of the year, you never know what little thing that you might do that'll impress a coach. Rutherford gets the happy feet, chased out of the pocket, and tosses this one into the front row.
I wonder if this lady's going to give the football back. Put it under your coat, lady. Be smarter than that. There, put it down. They're going to come get it. I'm telling you, put it under your coat.
Well, she's going to write a check for $150.
Yeah, but the thing is, she's going to get one that's official game used. You know, you get a jersey and everybody goes, was it game used? You can go take it out in the yard and get some grass.
Never figure.
I never figured that.
I don't want the stinky game used one.
All you got to do is go out in your yard and rub it in the grass and tell them, you know, it's from RFK or something. You know?
Exactly. Rutherford. Somebody was not on the same board as Rod Rutherford.
That's a bad series for Rutherford and his Carolina Panthers. Guy had a standout career at Pittsburgh.
He had a guy to throw to by the name of Larry Fitzgerald, and that helped.
Not a bad receiver. I'll tell you, pretty good at college football coach in Walt Harris also.
Gary Scott's going to get another look at a Todd Sauerbrunn punt.
I wonder if his leg is about to fall off as many times as he's punted tonight.
He gets it off. Casey Scott to the left. He comes back to the right, then back to the left, and is quickly hauled down at the 20-yard line. Moore is the one who gets there. That was Sauerbrunn's 10th punt.
Bill Parcells called Joe Gibbs upon his return to football. And his comment was, Joe, does this mean we can't talk the next 4 or 5 years? We had some intense rivalries with Parcells Giants back in the day. This is called taking a gunner completely out of the play. This is embarrassing, folks. You see him getting up talking smack. You won't be employed next week, probably, son. Get your pink slip and go see Dr. Fox.
He's trying to get someone to notice him, though.
Yeah, but you don't get people to notice you in this league laying on your back. Rock's been a busy guy tonight.
Yeah,
Special teamer. Carrying the tail, you know, trying to tote the mail.
Well, maybe Joe Gibbs is giving him a chance to redeem himself for that fumble on Monday night. Hasselbeck still in at quarterback. Quick drop, looks one way across the middle. Complete to Rock Cartwright.
You know, you talk about that fumbling thing. Everybody knows Archie Griffin. Multiple Heisman Trophy. Played with his brother Keith. Keith is a rookie. Fumbled the ball a lot. Gibbs finally put him on the bench. The entire offseason, Keith Griffin goes around Redskin Park at home. He's got a football all the time. And people would come up to Park and try and swat it out of his arm. You know how many times he fumbled the next year? None. You think it's not a mental thing?
As he put in a call to Tiki Barber.
Tiki may need to carry the pill around with him a little bit.
Hasselbeck. Oh, coming across, picked off. Eddie Jackson stepped in front of the intended receiver.
This is probably a combination of a bad pass and a bad pass route. Sean Dillard, the receiver, the intended receiver, could have really helped Hasselbeck coming back toward the ball.
Even to get a hand in and knock it away.
Sometimes the receiver has to be a defensive back. Come back to the ball. You can't wait there and let the defender have the time to close the ground.
Well, this is key. 2:48 to go now. Good field position. Rod Rutherford at quarterback. Hands it off. Into the outside goes Harris. And gets it down to about the 17-yard line before Ohalete takes him down.
Caught the Redskins. Watch right here, folks. These two guys are coming. If you get past the line of scrimmage, look how far upfield. Lemons and Campbell. No one out there to contain. Big gain for Carolina.
16 yards on the pickup. Ball at the 19-yard line.
We're not looking at overtime, are we?
I was getting ready to say, the way the game started so slowly with field goals and such, we're only a field goal away from playing a little extra. And we've got the 2-minute warning. So the timeout on the field. These guys just wondering if they'll have to stick around a little longer. 2017. Washington Redskins with a 20-17 lead, their first lead of the game, but Rod Rutherford has Carolina marching and the ball inside the 20. John Saunders, Jeff Bostic, and Chick Hernandez here.
You're a married man with a couple daughters.
Yes, I am.
I've got 3. And
yep.
You know, the Redskin support staff provided us with their 2004-5 swimsuit calendar of the ladies of football, the first ladies of football. You think I should take that home?
Well, see, I haven't looked at it yet. Rutherford had a touchdown to McGreedy, but he dropped it.
John hasn't looked at it. He hasn't put it down.
I have a feeling it'll somehow make its way into the Saunders household.
It was a gift, and I really think it's rude if you don't accept it, don't you?
That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Yeah. That's like the guy that comes in and his wife says, where were you last night? I slept in the hammock. She said, I sold the hammock. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, Rutherford should have had a touchdown now. Greedy dropped it. Rutherford again.
Look who makes the play, number 59, Lemons. He keeps showing up. That is discipline defensively. Looks like the play's going away. It'd be real easy to go real flat down the line of scrimmage and try and chase the tailback. Right there, folks. Watch him. Sees it. Gets upfield. He's the one that makes the play. Young man's been impressive.
Evans gets the tackle, but you're right. It was Lemons who set everything up.
Redskins could really use a sack to get these guys out of field goal range.
3rd and 17 now after a loss of 7. Rutherford
got a corner, Cat.
Got his man hauled down, but quickly closed. Harris was the one to come up with a reception. And now John Casey will take the field with a chance to tie. See if they get in there and try and block it. It's up, and it was good, and we are tied again at 20 apiece with 23 seconds left in regulation.
We look like we're headed to extra football.
Now, when we get there, if we get there, I'm going to solicit your opinion on the overtime format.
Well, let me go on record right now. I don't like the college overtime format. Putting the ball at the 20-yard line and each team getting 4 downs to gain 10. No.
But don't you think each team should at least have a possession?
Well, it's sudden death. You had 60 minutes prior to win it.
I understand that, but on a toss of a coin then.
How about this is the infamous one. Thanksgiving Day, Pittsburgh, Detroit. When Jerome Bettis calls the coin flip and the officials get it wrong.
Get it wrong. Exactly. I'd like to see both teams at least get 1 possession. I agree with you. You don't want to go the route of the college game because it could never end. See some of the college games go into that
6 and 7 overtimes. Yeah.
Scott is back to receive again. Scott and Cloman. Sauerbrunn. Swings it low and deep. One hop picked up by Scott. He's got an opening down the sidelines. There's a flag.
I wonder what the percentage of flags on special teams plays are. 30, 40%?
It seems like every time I look up on a special team,
illegal block in the back.
Yellow rag is tossing somewhere.
Of the return team during the run back. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Watch right there.
What was that you said about if you can read the guy's name?
If you can read his nameplate, you probably shouldn't hit him.
16 seconds left. That's the 10th penalty on the Redskins. And they're just going to take a knee and let regulation come to an end, although there's a flag tossed. And officials don't feel that they have worked enough today.
Illegal formation. Number 15 was not on the line of scrimmage.
Why are we calling an illegal formation in the, kneel down formation?
I was getting ready to say, you're taking a knee. There's not going to be a fumble. Rules are rules, I suppose. Let's try it one more time. And that was the knee in the legal formation.
Now, I'm going to pick your brain. For overtime, if you win the coin toss, do you accept or do you receive?
See, all coaches. Well, I'm not sure.
Everybody says you want the ball first.
In the NFL. In college, they want to defend first. Now, I can understand why you'd want it first in the NFL because you may never get it on offense.
Right. But the other thing you're dealing with, if it's overtime and you're kicking off and you do your job to kick off and pin somebody deep, you're automatically getting field position. Should get the ball to 40, 45-yard line at worst. These guys ought to have gone in and showered and had their street clothes on. They've been out so long.
Who's going to call the coin? What is your call? Heads. Heads? Heads was called. Tails it is. Washington has won the toss. Do you want the ball? Which way do you want to go? Let me call. Let me call. Washington won the toss, will receive.
Skins win the toss and elect to receive. Overtime when we come back. Preseason football on the Redskins broadcast network has been brought to you by FedEx. Go Air, Go Ground, proud sponsor of the Washington Redskins and FedEx Field. And by Bank of America, the official bank sponsor of the Washington Redskins. Bank of America, higher standards. And by Dominion, the official energy partner of the Washington Redskins. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And Scott with a big gainer. And tosses the ball just about as far as he ran.
And he almost hit the official. It's been a bad night for hitting officials. It's the only time I've ever seen a punt hit an official.
And down the ball at the 2-yard line.
You think it's not fun, you know, running back kicks? You got to be a special mentality right there, because you know there are 11 people that have got bullseyes on you.
Well, Hasselbeck will now try and march them into position. McCullough loses his footing in the backfield and gets it back to the line of scrimmage.
Best kick returner I ever played with, Brian Mitchell. You want 53 of him on your team. He is probably one of the toughest pound-for-pound guys you'll ever want to see. He picked a fight with Jumpy Gathers in training camp his first or second year. I knew he was crazy, but I liked him. Jumpy was about 6'7", 310.
You knew he was brave,
but not real smart.
Hasselbeck again hands it off. And again, there's nothing there for McCullough. And Hasselbeck has had some success through the air. And suddenly,
did you see how easily Duckett picked up McCullough? He kind of like, it's like holding an infant.
Well, 3rd down and 11 yards to go. Hasselbeck 6 of 13 for 65 yards. Clearly the best numbers of the 3 quarterbacks who played for the Redskins tonight. Back again. He needs 11 yards for a 1st down, and incomplete across the middle. He was looking for Gary Scott. Scott didn't get there. And Carolina will get ready to receive a punt.
It's one of those maximum protections. Looks like he slowed down a little bit. Finish your route.
Stemke almost loses the handle on the snap, and then his punt takes a Carolina bounce and rolls towards the 30. Not sure what the Redskins were waiting for. I see a flag way on the other side of the field.
Every special teams play, there's going to be a flag. It seems like it
seems that way tonight.
Holding 42 of the return team.
We like that. We like that call.
10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Holding on the return team, so march him back. Takes away a little more field position. Make things difficult down to the 19-yard line.
You know what would be the worst case scenario? If this thing ended in a time you had to play 15 full minutes of overtime.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Did you know you saw those dreadlocks hanging out? You can hold those. You can grab those.
See, I wondered about that. Whether or not they were considered part of uniform or part of the helmet. Going deep is Rutherford. Oh, an offensive pass interference is going to be the call. Hall was knocked down.
Hall did a great thing, getting his body between the wide receiver and the football. Wide receiver had Leon one alternative. Right there, push him out of the way. See, the guys on the Carolina bench think it's against the Redskins.
How?
Well, you saw them. See them pumping their hands? Everybody's instinct is if it's a flag on a pass play, it's automatically on the defense.
Pass interference, 19
Bollinger
offense.
might have thought the same thing. But put him back inside the 10-yard line now.
Former Syracuse standout right there, Clifton Smith.
1st and 19. Rutherford steps up in the pocket. Looks like he wants to run with it. Gets creamed at about the 15-yard line. Yeah, we got an injured player on the field. Oh, Leahy was on top.
Looks to be Cedric Killings. Sometimes the hardest hit you can ever deliver on somebody is from a teammate.
You're not braced for it. You're not expecting it.
Well, you know, if you're a defensive guy, you're looking at who you're trying to track down, whether it's the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver. So is your teammate. So everybody's trying to get to the same spot, so it gets a little bit crowded.
Let's go down to the field to Chick.
Guys, John Springs, obviously one of the veterans, played 7 years in Seattle and has come over here. He's a local kid from Springbrook High School. He went to Ethiopia a couple of years ago to finish his sociology degree. Said it was the most eye-opening experience he could not believe when he walked over there and saw the poverty. And he said, you step over death and you become a changed person. And he says, I've looked, and he goes, people wonder why I smile all the time. He's the guy that got burned on the Terrell Owens touchdown with a Sharpie a couple of years ago on Monday Night Football. And they asked him in the locker room, and he kind of shrugged and smiled. He said, that's why. I've seen so many things now that I cannot wrap my brain around, that other stuff just doesn't matter. Fellas?
That's a great point. He does have a great smile, so he may as well flash it. And he's not the only person who's been beaten by Terrell Owens.
That's carrying it to a new level. The Sharpie and then the cell phone.
Joe Horn?
Joe Horn.
What do you think? As an old-time veteran,
can you imagine,
what do you think about that?
You're a hot dog. Can you imagine Chuck Bednarik if somebody pulled that on one of his football teams? I mean, it'd be a fist fight right there. Instantly.
This year, the penalty and the fines that will be handed out for those types of incidents are higher than ever.
Well, whether these guys that are currently wearing the uniforms want to admit it or not, you're role models for young kids. You're trying to show them and teach them how to play a game and use sportsmanship. And when you're doing all this, you know, extracurricular activity after a play or something.
But you guys had the fun bunch.
I was not in it.
No, but it was on your team.
Yeah. And we had John Riggins that scored 24 touchdowns one year and just tossed the ball to the official and walked to the sideline.
2nd down and about 14. Rutherford chased out of the pocket again. He's got some room to run. Good move there. Gets it up and gets a 1st down.
Young man was a great scrambler in college. Still possesses the wheels. This was a big play for Carolina. Pocket is collapsing. Redskins coming with a blitz, not able to get there. It doesn't make you forget about Michael Vick, but he's pretty good.
18 yards on the pickup. Although they tell us we're going to see a lot less of this from Michael Vick this year.
Those legs are the reason he's the weapon. He's got a great arm, but those legs are what scare people.
Hand off to Harris. He's brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
Is there anybody in football more exciting than Michael Vick?
No. No. There may not be anyone in sport more exciting than Michael Vick.
You'd have to put Tiger up there. Tiger's got to be close.
The old Tiger.
Yeah. The one that hasn't won a major in 9 consecutive or whatever it is. And he's not going to win tomorrow.
But he made another cut, though. So it's got 128 straight. Oh, big stick by the Redskins. Everybody in on the tackle. Harris was the ball carrier.
That would be another interesting argument. Who is the most visible sports figure of all time?
My
Muhammad
money
Ali?
would be with Muhammad Ali.
Or Michael Jordan?
I think it's still with Muhammad Ali. I think Michael Jordan could go places in Africa and people wouldn't know who he was. Muhammad Ali, I don't think there's a place on the planet he could go and people wouldn't know who he was.
Do you think LeVar Arrington can go anywhere around Washington and not be known?
Well, not after Dream Job.
He did a good job on Dream Job. I told him, I said, I was impressed, LeVar.
He did a very good job as a judge.
And you know what? LeVar was at practice yesterday, and I knew it was his as soon as I saw it. He loves toys, okay? He's got a T-Bird, but he had a car in the parking lot, which I knew was his. 1970 GTO Judge.
Ooh.
Jet black with custom mag wheels, convertible, obviously. And everything's been redone. It looks like it's brand new. But on the back of the hood, it's got QB Killa, K-I-L-L-A. Well, would you imagine coming up to that car and seeing QB Killa?
Well, you would hope that your name wasn't Quincy Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be very, very frightened.
LeVar is going to be the gracious recipient of having somebody on the other side that can make him a better football player. Marcus Washington is going to help LeVar Arrington. They're going to have little competitions between them.
3rd down. Rutherford looking to continue this drive. Going deep. Goes too deep and over the wrong shoulder and out of bounds. And so now Carolina will have to punt it away. Gary Scott again. Back ready to field the kick. And it's going to chase him back a couple of yards. Has it. Stutter step and taken down. No gain on the play. Allen comes up. And Tufts was in there. Sauerbrunn with 11 punts has averaged 46 yards per punt. And he's going to need a crutch to get out of here tonight. And Hasselback goes back to work. 10:32 left in this overtime. Hasselback across the middle, picked off. Hampton was playing center field, and the ball was overthrown, and it dropped right into his mitts.
Hasselback's numbers are starting to look like Ramsey's and Brunell's. This is a pass he would love to have. If you could put a football on a string and pull it back, this is one he would want. Defense has got to make a stand right here. This is when you learn about your players. This throw was soft and it was into the middle of the field. two things happen, what, three things happen when you throw the ball and two of them are bad?
And it was overthrown as well. Rutherford hands it off to Harris. Jukes and jives. Ohalete comes up and takes him down.
What's Washington going to work on next week? Tonight, 4 turnovers, 11 penalties, and they've given up 3 sacks.
That is not going to get it done on many nights. It'll be a big boost for the confidence of Rod Rutherford if he can lead a drive that will lead them to victory. Rolls out, fakes the handoff. Now he's in trouble. But again, the great foot speed. There is a flag. Rutherford gets leveled. But let's see what the flag is. Smith with the big hit. After an 11-yard gain, he almost broke Rutherford in half.
Watch Rutherford's head snap.
Illegal
this is when you talk about that type of explosion.
19 was covering the tight end. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Watch his head.
Ooh.
That is a bone-jarring tackle. That will loosen your tight fittings and tighten your loose fittings right there.
That's when you say, young man, there's something we like to do in the NFL as quarterbacks, and it's slide.
That's why Mr. Rutherford's a rookie. He hasn't learned yet.
Now he's got a second down in 13 situation. Looking to pass. Has a man. It's tipped and then caught. Tipped by the Redskins. Pierce. Or Smith has the tip. And was probably thinking about 6 the other way.
Clifton Smith had an interception for a touchdown last year. Could have had another one. Watch this ball. Right through his hands. Was he going to score? No. Were you counting on the Panthers catching this football? I don't think so either.
Ollinger gets the tip. And Lemons is there to bring him down.
Big third down.
Third down and a long 3. And Rutherford wants a timeout. Washington searching for who is going to be their starting quarterback. And based on what we've seen tonight,
I think on what I've seen tonight is Brunell. I mean, none of the numbers are good.
For any of them.
I think that Brunell probably has a couple of things going in his favor. Big signing bonus, 1. Experienced quarterback. Gibbs loves veteran quarterbacks. 11th highest career passing rating in NFL history.
Yep.
He's been to the Pro Bowl. He's been to the playoffs. He's been to the big games. He's not going to be scared by the lights. And not that Patrick Ramsey would. Ramsey will eventually flourish under Gibbs' system.
Rutherford with a third down. Hands it off. A good, strong run by Harris. Is going to have it up near the marker, but I believe it'll be short.
Let's see if they go in protocol to the regular season. Do you ice Casey? Do you try and use the timeout to ice him?
Well, you certainly would during the regular season, but it's only preseason. Well, let's see if he can make it. 52-yarder. Up and good. And Casey has won the game for John Fox and the Carolina Panthers, who did not lose a preseason game last year.
Plenty of leg right there.
Well, it was ugly at times. It was exciting at times with some of the long passes we saw from Wenke. The Redskins won on the last play of regulation on Monday night against Denver in the Hall of Fame game. And now in their second preseason game, they lose on the final play of the game here at home at FedEx Field.
They learned something about their football team. They can't compete against good teams with 4 turnovers. Secondly, they found out that Kenyatta Jones can probably play in this league and play and help this football team. Would you like to see your quarterback play a little bit more sound, smooth football?
Absolutely.
Would you like to have your entire offensive package at your liberty?
Absolutely. I'd like to see the guys who are going to have a chance to play the most stick around the most as well. But we know it's the preseason, and the Skins still have 3 more preseason games left. Let's take a look at a Purple Heart player of the game, Darnarian McCants. 2 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown.
Big touchdown catch. Yeah, he was airing it out. Mark Brunell with absolutely a beautiful throw. McCants right in stride. Puts a TD on the board for the Redskins. Unfortunately, they come up short in overtime.
So the final, once again, a 23-20 win for Carolina over Washington. Join us again next Saturday night on the Redskins Broadcast Network as the Redskins travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Again, the final score from FedEx Field, Panthers 23, Redskins 20. This has been a presentation of the Redskins Broadcast Network.